Time for Type 40, your live stream Doctor Who show, materializing again here on the Spacebook channel. Whatever time zone or time stream that you're joining us from, welcome. Yes, this is Type 40 Live, hitting your screens in real time. It's content and conversation here on YouTube and Facebook of all things in the Whoniverse. Where shall we start? Can't wait to get into this. What a long week it's been, and a quiet week in some respects, but not in others. It's never a quiet week here at Type 40 Live. There's lots to get into, lots of fun to be had as you head into the weekend in front of a live chat full of friends, fans and companions just like you. And now we're in podcast form too, of course. So thanks for watching and thanks for listening. I'm Dan Hadley, Birmingham's king of the geeks. And you are, whoever you are, we'll get to you in a moment. Thanks to everybody who's turned up so far. Can't wait to get cracking. Can't wait to, say hi and catch up with what's going on with you and with them here in the Type 40 Live console room. This time, it's all bright and crisp. And I think it's very spick, in fact, in this one. We'll soon clutter it up a little bit, I think, won't we, and David Diaz? What do you think?
Yeah, looks good. Sorry, I was saying hello to a lot of people in the chat.
Your public were waiting again, were they?
What public? Just say that to people. That's all. But yeah, no, looks good. I'm raring to go.
Yeah, I haven't spoken to you all week, mate. How have you been? Well, we'll bring them on.
Working, and it's been so hot. It's absolutely ridiculous. And I've been eating crap food because it's so hot. You know, when it's hot, you end up drinking loads of Coke where you shouldn't really be drinking it. And beer and
here we are.
crap.
We're into food right away. We'll be into fashion in a minute. We'll take all of the Type 40 Live boxes right away. Personally, I never feel like eating anything hot when the weather's this hot. What about you, Queen Charlotte?
It depends. Sometimes, if it's a certain food I really like and it's hot, but I'm not going to lie. On Monday, I had like a cold sandwich for my tea. It was lovely. Like just crisps and sandwich, and that did me quite well.
Yeah, cream crackers and all that jazz. What? Let's. I dare say we'll have people in the live chat will no doubt be trading their salad recommendations here for the hot weather. We've got Wendology's here from the Department of Wendology. Good evening, all. She says, and Carol Jude's got a hiya all. Hello, all from Daniel Leach. Good to see you, Daniel. And a hi, everyone from Lord Thoth. Lots of the regulars, the faithfuls who turn up most weeks. Simon Ashley says, evening all.
Coming.
Yeah, right, Simon.
The crazies who aren't safe, probably aren't safe let loose, aren't they? It's the best thing for them in front of the screen with us. Speaking of which, she's had a hell of a week as well. You know, she's only been on the rampage somewhere, apparently in your neck of the woods, Ian, but she has made it back. It's Shah from Geek Rambles. What have you been up to, Shah?
Only just made it back. Only just by some divine miracle.
She's been drunk.
So apparently you're drunk and disorderly, not necessarily in that order.
Definitely not in that order. I couldn't even tell you. Could not even tell you. But hello, everyone. It's lovely to see you again.
Great to see you too. Yeah, we're going to get stuck into some Doctor Who talk and some tunes too. You wouldn't believe what I've got lined up for you guys. I'll be lucky if they're even talking to me in a couple of hours, everybody. But I hope that you guys are, and you stick around to like the video. In fact, you might as well like it now. After you've heard some of the things we've got coming later on, you might change. You might say, please like it now. Like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. It does help a lot more than you think. And hit the cloister bell so you get the notifications about what we're doing next, whether it's another live stream, because this is our weekly magazine show here, Type 40 Live on the Spacebook channel. And we also put out the podcasts too. There was a new one out the other day, a big review of Rose. We've got some great stuff coming up for the rest of the summer too. Lots more Daleks, lots more reviews, and a couple of things I haven't told you about. So hit the cloister bell to get those notifications. And yes, we do have somebody else. Yes, he's here. I don't know whether, I think we've managed to snag him in between doing, preparing something for a cosplay, something robotic maybe, or preparing his upcoming film. Yes, you've blown it. You've guessed it. Return to Type 40 Live of the one, the only, the masterly, Mr. Terry Cooper.
Hello, everyone. How are you doing? Been long
Mr.
time.
Cooper, sir.
Hello, old bean. How are we?
Good. I've just gotten over 10 days of COVID, which hit me for
nice.
Oh,
Stay away.
I was beginning to think I was immune. I was like, I'm feeling a bit left out. Everyone's getting it, and
Yeah, Terry, never think that. That's what I was like, and then I got it.
I know, right? So I went to the cinema and came back and felt very weird, and then that was it for 10 days. I was out of the loop, as it were.
Was it because you went to see Thor Love and Rumble or whatever it was called?
No, I
sick.
caught an ST.
Someone like me.
That sounds like something else.
I loved it. I went to go and see it yesterday. I thought it was great. So much fun.
Sorry.
Last time it was nothing to do with me, but this lot, this smut merchant here next to me, and the others, come to think of it, they were reading porno titles into everything that we were mentioning, and I think Love and Rumble could well be a hangover from last week. We're hoping you're going to raise the decorum a little this time, mate. Well, I know I can rely on you.
One shall try to be of service, sir.
He's a good egg. Derek McManus advises that. Oh God, no! I'm not going to read.
I love that.
I'm not going to read that out.
You just said about bringing the tone up, and then what do you put on screen?
Never happens on this show.
I misread that completely. I'm a great sight reader, but sometimes I misread things. Derry, you're a naughty boy, but we do love you. Tony L says, hi, everyone. I hope all is well. Well, as you've probably heard by now, it depends on what you call well, really, doesn't it? Hail Charlotte, says Wendy there. Great
Yeah, forget about us. Wendy, why don't you? Just
it's all
Charlotte.
about the girls. We've got high geek rambles. We've got there for Shah. Got another one, from Peter Harrington as well. The Geek Rambles fan club there.
I don't know.
Let's see if we can find something for you, Ian, because this isn't on, is it? Retro. Gary Akers. That's a bit more like it. He says, I hope we get a Doctor in Distress sing along today. Doctor in Distress. No. What's that?
No.
What's that?
I remember
that. I have no idea. I have no idea what you're talking about. That's you. You're in two places.
That's Gwen's sister.
Yeah. Yes. Richard Brooks says, hello, Dan, of the Geeks and Geek Rambles. So, there we are. So,
just forget me and Terry. What is that all about? Seriously?
Is it too early to leave?
Yeah, exactly.
Kelly says, the Spacebook, I'm so used to calling it the Cloister Bell now that if someone doesn't, I'm surprised. That's either a sign of you're spending too much time on this channel, Kelly, or it's a sign of great taste. People bringing up the Type 40 live mugs again there. Yes, we do. We talked about this last week. We're working on it. We're working out a way of making these mugs available that isn't cost prohibitive.
Yeah,
because I think we want to start putting these out because people do keep asking about them. And whilst I remember, thank you to everybody who's been leaving comments again on on the videos and the podcast. So this is the Type 40 live podcast versions. Those are up at type40.podbean.com. Sorry. As is the podcast itself. So there's a new episode dropped the other day. There's more coming on the weekly. We're putting these out in audio form too. So if you hit the bottle while you're listening to us, I think that it's not. It would be understandable, wouldn't it? So if you missed something on tonight's show, you can go back and you can go to type40.podbean.com or any major podcatcher, Audible, Spotify, all those places, Apple Podcasts, and you can catch up then or listen to us all over again. If you're a real glutton for punishment. We've got lots to get into on this show. It's been a funny old week. It really has. But I think the first thing that I wanted to get into really was Ncuti Gatwa. Now, on one hand, you could say that this guy is all over the place. He does seem to pop up in the media, smiling quite a lot. And yet it's however long until we see him as the Doctor. Or is it? Because this week, I don't know if you saw this, Ncuti Gatwa is technically, he is a doctor. So we've got this. The news broke about 6 days ago now that Ncuti Gatwa has received an honorary doctorate. And this is from the Scotland's National Conservatoire in Glasgow. Now, there was 300 students graduating across their various disciplines. So that's music, drama, dance, production, education, and film, Ian. So there's film students there too. So when they do this, they obviously put on a big bash and they give these honorary degrees out. And Ncuti was one of 3 given this time. And it says here, one of this is the Scottish Record says, one of film and TV's brightest stars paid tribute to the Royal Conservatoire of Scotland's graduating class when he received his honorary doctorate. And
what does that mean,
he
by
was,
the way?
Well, the idea is...
Did he work for it? Did he study for it?
No.
Well, this is the thing. Ncuti Gatwa did study apparently and graduated he graduated, I've got it here, he graduated from the BA acting programme at the Royal Conservatoire of Scotland in 2013. What I don't understand is why they've waited until now to give him this doctorate. Do you know how these things work, Terry?
I do not, but there's no shortage of celebrities who do get these honorary doctorates and get these things. As soon as they're in the public eye, they sort of, their universities, slap them with an honorary doctorate. So, I'm hoping that obviously Ian as well. I can speak for Ian. So one day when we get old enough to achieve anything, we might actually get a doctorate in something.
Well, if somebody breaks their leg, don't come to me if I get an honourary doctorate, because I wouldn't know what to do at all. I'm even a doctor. So
some honorary treatment.
Yeah, exactly.
We've got a quote here from Shoot. He was addressing the students, Shah. This might move you to tears here. It says, this speech was actually very difficult to write because when you get asked to do things like this, the presumption is that you're someone who has achieved something in life and are in complete control and have total awareness, and that you have knowledge and wisdom to pass down. But all that I've learned in life thus far is that you have to roll with the punches and figure it out as you go along. So it's quite a modest speech, that is, isn't it? It's not particularly show busy.
What a geezer.
No, it's not particularly enlightening either, because everybody does that. So anyway, whatever.
No,
whatever.
It's relatable.
I'd say that it's realistic.
Charlotte?
It's realistic. It's not him being like, look at me, I'm the big I am. And in so many of Shooty's little media interviews, or if he says anything, he's come across like that, of very relatable, normal.
That's how I felt.
Like you could meet him in a pub and have a conversation with him, and I think that's a brilliant way to be for a doctor we haven't seen yet. That you're already got this sort of comfortable sort of vibe around him, and I think he's brilliant whenever he does speak. So I'm looking forward to actually really when he does start to the media.
Hello, Tony.
Press. Hi,
Thank
Tony.
you. Thank you.
Tony Farrell in the chat says, "Oh, Ian,
you.
I'll say hello to you." No, I agree with everything you've said, Charlotte. And
I like
Tony.
Tony.
He's a good guy, isn't he? So whilst I think he may have
Sorry.
I think he may have felt quite.
Just give it a minute. Just let
for the Ian appreciation posts to start popping up. And there are several. Crippling the Balloon asks, "Isn't the doctor's doctorate purely honorary?" I don't know. Some are more honorary than others. I know that David Tennant also has an honorary doctorate from Glasgow. Jodie Whittaker.
Jodie got one from Sheffield Uni.
But was she sorry.
Well, that was an honorary doctorate, and she didn't. There was no cap and gown picture from Jodie Whittaker. And when Jodie got hers, everybody, and I mean everybody, from the lead actor right the way down to the T-boy, everybody got an honorary doctorate who worked on Series 11, which seemed just for showing up, which seems rather woolly to me.
Well, Dan, right? I was an extra in 2 scenes of the very first episode of Torchwood. Where's my doctorate, man?
Were you? I didn't know this. You find something new out about Terry Cooper every time you speak to him. I have to look you out now. I only watched that last year.
Yeah, I need to have a look
But
now.
yes, it's obviously, it must be in the post, hasn't it, Shaw? That's what's happened to Terry.
They lost it.
It got lost. You know what's going on? Yeah, when COVID happened, that was it. Oh, actually, I suppose it's a bit late for that, isn't it? Or a bit early. But,
I was in the background of the bill once.
Every day. Why don't I?
I should get a doctorate.
You were in the bill.
I was in the background in the bill once because they shot down my road and I got into shot. So I should get a doctorate as well, should I not? Yeah, exactly.
Maybe you should. We've got a quote here too from Professor Geoffrey Sharkey, who's principal of the Royal Conservatoire of Scotland. How I haven't mispronounced conservatoire yet, it surprises me, quite frankly. Ncuti Gatwa has captivated audiences worldwide in sex education. I always think twice when I read that out. And we're so proud to see him step into the shoes of one of television's most iconic characters in Doctor Who. but they say see. We haven't seen anything yet, and we're not going to see anything for quite a while. But Jeffrey Sharkey goes on to say he's an incredibly gifted actor with fresh and fearless energy, which makes him a joy to watch. But they did give a special commendation for Ncuti's work as an advocate for the youth homelessness charity Centrepoint. So I didn't know that he did that. That's a good thing. That's something I think we can all applaud anybody for supporting a charity like that.
Sorry, what are you doing? It's a good light.
It's got a torch in his head.
I thought for a minute it was my bald head sort of reflecting off the sun, but I don't quite have a bald patch yet. It's more like, you will be like us.
Terry Cooper is bathed in sunlight as always. He's well blessed and recovering obviously from COVID. I'll tell you somebody else who's been blessed this week. Sylvester McCoy and David Bradley. They were at London Film and Comic Con at the weekend. Isn't it great to see them together, Shah?
Yeah, amazing. I just adore Sylvester. Oh, look at him. He's just so cute.
He's amazing, isn't he? He's amazing.
Oh, he's so good. I just adore him.
Rolling his arms.
And I look at that waistcoat as well. Who else has one like that?
Yeah. He's a very natty dresser as Sylvester. He also favours the Crocs. I don't know if you've seen that, Queen Charlotte.
God, no.
So I've heard. I've not yet to see him in a picture, but I've heard.
But yeah, Sylvester's obviously he's getting up there. I think he's 78, 79 years old. And David Bradley there, I think he's around 80. So yeah, it's good to see them hanging out, comparing notes. Rumour has it, we've spoken about it on this show before, that both of them are in the centenary special later this year in the autumn show. Have you heard about that?
No, so thank you for that. I'm really, really excited if that's the case. I think David Bradley does a wonderful job of capturing William Hartnell's essence as the first Doctor, and like I sort of just said, I adore Sylvester anyway. So yeah, I'd be really happy to see that.
He looks very fit, doesn't he? For 80, whatever, doesn't he? He looks more fitter than Sylvester McCoy. I reckon.
Well, David Bradley, he's a very much in demand actor. He always seems to be in something. He does American shows. He does movies too, doesn't he, Terry? He's done a lot of horror movies and things, low budget movies.
He has, yeah. I like I say, I saw him a couple of months ago in Western Supermare at a convention, and I chatted to him for a bit. And he does come. I was like, oh, he's awfully fragile. I was scared to touch him. I wanted to shake hands, and he said, "Let's do the fist bump thing." I'm like, yeah, fair enough. We did that. But I was worried he might slip and fall over or something, because it's like, someone catch him. He's a national treasure as well, though.
Yeah, he really
to reach this level of fame, because I wouldn't say nobody had heard of him 15 years ago, but he wasn't as known as he is now. I suppose the Harry Potter films,
isn't he?
Yeah. I can't remember who he played in Harry Potter, but I know.
He
him.
was the Finch.
Argus Filch.
I don't think he played Felch. I think that's something else.
Yeah, I never said his name right.
The tone.
He was in some American show before he starred in. I can't remember what the show was. It was quite successful, though.
Yes, it was The Strain. It's called The Strain. It was a horror. It was about vampires or something like that, wasn't it? I can't remember. But it's nice to see the two guys together there. I understand that the London Comic Con this weekend the last weekend was quite the occasion. There was lots of queues and things like that, and some people got a little bit frustrated. But if you do have any pictures, please, let us know if you had a fun time in London. Get in touch with us, Instagram and Twitter at Type40Doctor, or join the Type 40 Facebook group and come and share them if you dare. And if you may have bumped into one another, I don't know. Come and tell us about your time and who you met and what they signed, as long as you keep it clean. Obviously, speaking about that general area, you may have noticed we're JT-less this evening, sadly, and we are also still Simonless, everybody. Now, Simon, he's moving around the country. I'm not quite sure where he is. I think he was in the south, because this is Simon down at Wimbledon. He'd got his gams around the Wimbledon strawberries. I would imagine there was some cream on there somewhere. And really, as always, he was blowing out eyeballs there with a good blazer there from the Simon Le Bon collection. So wherever you are at the moment, Simon, I hope you're having fun. And can't wait to see Simon Horton back on the show.
How the other half live.
in a week.
We're all doing the JT. I noticed Geek Rambles was doing it earlier. They're all doing the JT.
I'm always doing it.
What's the JT?
Doing this. Oh, I'm up in the attic. It's really loud up here in the attic. I'm sweating my balls off.
Right.
Yeah, it gets hot. It gets hot up there in the Doctor Who loft with JT. But talking about. It's been very warm this week, obviously. Out and about. Out and about. So yeah, well, some geeks they don't work well in the sun, do they? I think a lot of people are happier in front of their console or in front of their plasma screen or their LCD or whatever, watching and geeking out with movies and TV. But it's not. I don't think it's an unusual sight nowadays to see people walking a robot dog. Cosplay is that ubiquitous. You see people cosplaying and rocking geeky T-shirts and things everywhere, but I'm yet to see anybody in full Cyberman dress. I don't think even you would go out in full Cyberman boiler suit and headgear, would you, Terry?
I would, but there's one reason I won't. I'm too blooming short.
Oh.
I've owned a number of Cyberman costumes in my day, and the guys who make them really well, and they're like, "Oh, go and get another one, get another one." I'm like, "I'm too short, guys. I'm 5'7" and 3/4. The 3/4 is important, but with another 1/4 inch, I'd be 5'8". But it's like if I put that on, I'd be one of those stealth Cybermen from Earthshock. Is it in a little black? The ones dressed painted all black.
Oh yeah.
I don't want to be the little Dutty one at the back. Dutty is a Welsh thing.
I know someone that's 5 foot and he dresses like the 80s Batman, the Tim Burton Batman.
Oh, Gary Hales. That's Gary.
How did you know?
I love Gary. He's brilliant.
How did you know? I was talking about Gary.
Gary used to be. Gary runs the UK Garrison, the Stormtrooper charity thing, and Gary was in Grange Hill and EastEnders.
Yes, and my movie.
Yeah,
and
more importantly, Gary's been on the Spacebook channel too.
Yeah.
Get him back on.
I love Gary.
Okay.
Gary's a great guy.
He's a good guy.
Know and love Gary too.
Yeah.
The first time
I
was in
always talk with Gary.
Gary was in EastEnders.
Gary like that.
The first time I did
Gary
a stormtrooping event in Birmingham NEC in 2008, Gary was there as Batman, and somebody shouted, "Stand up, Batman!" and that was it. And
that's not good.
That's
good.
Not nice being short. I'm only 5'5". I get it.
Talking about cosplay, before we leave that subject, I don't know if you've seen this one, because the 10th Doctor himself, well, the once and future Doctor, Mr. David Tennant, he goes out in public in, I suppose you could say, in sort of disguise, doesn't he? Obviously, if somebody's a public figure and they're that recognisable, he's not going to go out as David Tennant, is he? Because people would mob him on his way to and from Iceland and things when he's picking up knobbly bobblies. He's been out this week and he's been spotted, Ian. He's only cosplaying as Ian David Deers, the Mega Geek. Look. What's going on?
That's you.
Taking the piss or what? I think you should have a word. What do you think?
Wow. He needs the headphones.
He's speechless, everybody. What is he talking about? What's David Tennant doing out dressed as Ian? We can only guess. But if you're enjoying the show so far, and why wouldn't you be? Please like the video, David. Subscribe to the channel, and hit the cloister bell so you get notifications about what we're doing next and whatever it is we're doing. We're doing it all for the love of Doctor Who as we head up into that 60th anniversary year. Got so much planned for the rest of 2022, obviously, and we're looking ahead now to what we can offer you, the conversations that we can have for the 60th anniversary. Are you excited about the 60th anniversary, Terry? Because we haven't spoken to you for a couple of months. Where are you sitting with this?
Probably in the same boat as Ian, which is some sort of pirate ship, mate. It's going to be. I'm sitting in the same boat as Ian, which is I'm excited to see it because it's the last one, and the start of a new era. So, no, I mean, RTD has said yesterday that he's seen the 60th rough cut or whatever it is, and he's loving it. And then he would say that, but I'm kind of looking forward to it. I mean, I did sit through every one of Jodie's. I didn't give up on it, as in I'm not bothering watching it, but I did watch them, and I've had the therapy, so I'm still standing.
Good man, battered, but not bowed. That's how we like him here on Type 40 Live. That's why we keep inviting him back. Wayne Jennings says, "I've got the height, but a bit too much weight." He's talking. I thought we were going down that road again. But yeah, he's talking about the Cyberman cosplay. Maybe I could be the cyber controller. Yeah. Well, you never know. They could bring him back, couldn't they?
The Michael Kilgarif styley. Do you know what I think? I want to start my own sort of cosplay group, but it's all for short guys, and we should all be Sontarans because that'd be brilliant.
Oh boy, yes. So get in touch with us if you'd like to join Terry's Sontaran cosplay army. Of course, all the links will be in the description and the show notes as always, and all the links to get in touch with everybody on the panel this time. Let's get into a discussion about what's been going on in Doctor Who this last week, shall we? What do you think? Let's go. Is what is everybody talking about? Well, I mentioned that London Comic Con event at the weekend. There were several Doctor Who stars there, but one was quoted specifically in the newspapers on Monday. The way that these things tend to be, we get a lot of, I suppose, what you could call is people give. I wouldn't describe it even interviews. They just give quotes, don't they? They give quotes, and places like the Radio Times pick up on them. And they turn like 3 lines into 4 articles. It's incredible how they manage to do that. And it stays in the news cycle for an entire week. But at the moment, as regards Doctor Who and anybody who's connected with Doctor Who, there tends to be one question that bobs up. There's a big anniversary on the way. There's a whole new era opening up. Do you want to be involved? Has anybody spoken to you? It seems to be always the same general line of questioning. And when it comes to Doctor Who alumni, of course, like this person, then anything that they say is definitely going to make our radar. So I'm talking about Alex Kingston. Shah. Do you need a minute, Shah?
Yeah.
I need a minute.
Oh my God. Yes.
I saw her first.
I'm going. Oh. Do you know what I would give?
Yes.
Steady.
Do you know what I would give for to see her back? Oh, anything.
Well, you'll be pleased to learn that Alex Kingston has responded to rumours that she could be back on Doctor Who, along with the returning showrunner, of course, Russell T Davies, and under Bad Wolf, the former ER actress. I suppose that's what she was most famous for. I think she's probably most famous for River Song now, come to think of it. But yeah, she first joined Doctor Who, didn't she, back in Series 4 in 2008, during Russell's original stint as the executive producer, but in a script by Stephen Moffat. But when she was at the Comic Con, we've got a quote. She said, she was asked about this, asked directly, are you going to be involved in what's coming? And with the quote is, who knows? Bring it on, Shooty, is all that I'm saying. So there's not much there. But, of course, the Radio Times being who they are, Ian, and Digital Spy being who they are, everybody jumped on this. Because
Stop the press. Actor wants more acting work.
It's very much like that, isn't it? Because you think, as you get a bit more jaded with this, Terry, you think, tell me something new. But I'd just like to say now for all the viewers and everyone here that I'm not at liberty to say whether I'm in the 60th or not, but who knows? Anyone can do that. Anyone can do that. I very much take your point, and I personally have very mixed feelings about this. I love Alex Kingston. She's absolutely fantastic. So much charisma, such a great actress, and she's given us some great performances in the past, in memorable episodes, hasn't she? And so it's understandable, isn't it, that when you hear the name Alex Kingston, you have the idea that she could return to Doctor Who in any form. On the surface, it seems like quite a good idea, and then you think on it and think, well, is the story told? Is it not? What do you think about Alex Kingston?
I don't like River Song at all. I did like her in the first time when I saw her, which was it Silence in the Library. I liked her in that, but then they just kept bringing her back, and and then all that stupid convoluted story about her being the daughter of so and so, and it was just ridiculous. And also, when I really cringe is when she kissed Matt Smith and she looked old enough to be his mum, and it just didn't work for me at all. I just creeped out about that for some reason.
Well, I don't know. We wouldn't think twice about that if it was the other way. With an older man and a younger woman, I don't think. I
still think the same as well. I'd creep out about that as well. But I'm just saying that she was all right in the first one, but she outstayed her welcome, in my opinion. But that's just me. I didn't really like the character beyond that one. Yeah, that's just me.
I think that people like that kind of Mrs. Robinson quality that had got from The Graduate. But Alex Kingston, she's a 59-year-old actress from Great Britain, and she began her career on Grange Hill, Charlotte,
Yeah,
which
she
was
did.
a big kids show. I don't know if that had finished by the time you were watching kids
Just
TV.
say
I can't
no.
remember when that wrapped up.
Oh no, no, no,
Just
no.
say no.
They started it again. So
did
it was
they?
like a reboot.
Yeah, they did,
of it
yeah.
when I was
They
a
did.
kid.
Oh, I see. But
Yeah,
her career
see,
really
I'm-
exploded in the 90s, and she was in dramas like Mole Flanders on ITV and Crocodile Shoes with Jimmy Nail on the BBC, and then that 7 years on ER, which at the time was probably one of the biggest shows in the entire world.
She was good in that. I liked her in that. I thought she was really good.
She's a lovely actress, and I think what the quality she always brings is fun, and I think that's what people do like about River, when she's written just to be this sort of fun, dangerous type of woman. But I agree. I think by the end, you could tell Moffat, I think he didn't proper plan. That's what I've always sort of thought about River. You can tell he had a really good concept, which is, why does the Doctor always meet people in the right order? Surely he's going to meet somebody who's out of order with him. And I thought that was really strong. But it just
It was
felt
a
like he had
brilliant
that
idea,
idea.
yeah.
And then by the end of it, it was like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing now. Moffat had this era almost with River. Like, oh, I'll just keep putting her in because I like her. And it's like, no, you need to really have a story reason, Moffat. Not
In
just
some
because
ways,
you
in
like...
some ways, it did feel like she was a story device, I think, Charlotte, rather than a character sometimes.
Oh, yeah, I think even though Moffat has got his strengths, I think that was one of his weaknesses by the end of his run. Characters started to become plot devices and a bit of a plot contrivance. And I think River really became that by the end.
She made her last regular appearance in 2015 in The Husbands of River Song alongside Peter Capaldi, which I think Ian, that dynamic there was probably a lot more to your taste. They were both around the same age, I think. And she continues to appear. And on Big Finish, she's got that long-running series of audio adventures there where she meets all the other doctors. And some of them, I think some of it's so much of a muchness, really. But hey, you know, people pay their money for what they want to hear. It's perhaps
true.
a niche thing, expanded universe. But this character and the persona of River Song, I think, Shah, that the reason why, I mean, speaking for myself, the reason that I latch onto her is because I feel that what Alex Kingston brings to that part is very similar to that which each Doctor brings to that role too. It just all seems so natural. She makes it look so easy, and it's such a warm character, isn't it?
She's so fabulous, and I completely understand what Charlotte and Ian are saying. Totally get it, because that is something that Moffat does. He does fall in love with his own creations a hell of a lot. But just what she brought, the chemistry she has with, well, Tennant, Smith, and Capaldi, arguably one better than the other, I thought was really, really great. And Ian, you said that you were cringing that, you know, those two were kissing and they were older. I was only cringing because I wanted to be the one to kiss either one of them, and I wouldn't have even minded who it was.
Which one would you want to kiss?
Oh, well, no, it would be Matt Smith, wouldn't it?
Good girl.
I
Good
would
girl.
kiss her too, but it's just one of those things, isn't it? But I just think she's really, really fun. She brings a lot of comic relief to the show. She was used a bit too much. I agree with that. And her story was done. I think they cleaned it up beautifully. I don't think she needs to come back as much as I would just love to see her. I mean, she's teased before that she wanted to meet Jodie Whittaker's incarnation so she could meet her wife, and everyone went crazy at that. But yeah, I think the story was done. I loved The Husbands of River Song, and that's it. She was done. Yeah. But
I suppose, Shah, that connects very much with that what Terry was pointing to, which, you know, an actor, whether they feel that the character is sort of done or not on the page.
Yeah.
You know, can you think of an actor that would turn down work if it was? You know, I can't see why anybody would.
It's money.
Yeah. And she does it really bloody well, in my opinions. But that's just me.
Well, since Doctor Who, she's continued to work on both sides of the Atlantic. She seems quite unique for that, Ian. She's gone. Well, there was Doctor Who, obviously, but she was also in Flash Forward, and she was
also in
Arrow.
That show that I really liked. I can't remember the recent one. One the vampires.
A Discovery of Witches. Is that what you're talking about?
Sorry. Yeah,
so
yeah,
this is where I was getting to. Yeah, so she's been on a Discovery of Witches for Bad Wolf Studios for around 4 years. That's obviously been a big hit show for them. JT's talked about it quite a lot on this show. It's a program
I liked it.
that I think we can look to for some idea, for the best idea of the kind of production values that we're going to get when Bad Wolf bring their Doctor Who to the screen.
But if they bring
what
her
you-
back, if they don't bring like Peter Davison back and stuff, that would be a crime, wouldn't it? I mean, I'd rather have another Doctor back than her,
Yeah.
to tell you the truth. But
If there was a stack of who you'd like more,
yeah.
you'd rather go
she'll
for
be
another
right at the
Doctor.
bottom.
Yeah, I wouldn't want her. Yeah, I would rather a Doctor over her, or
Yeah.
even other companions over her.
Yeah,
I just love her, and I as
like
much as I'm
Fraser
never
Hines
gonna
deserves to
God,
come
yeah,
back.
I love River.
He's
Yes.
been such a great supporter of Doctor Who for so many years, and he deserves to actually come
Yeah,
back on the
lovely guy.
60th, doesn't he? Let's face it, the guy's been a
I would
huge supporter.
I would agree. This is what people say in the chat about this. Is the idea of a return visit from Professor Riversong? Does that float anybody's boats? Yay, River, says Tony L. And Kelly asks, anybody heard her read that audiobook of the novel Ruby's Curse? It's fantastic. I got halfway into that, Kelly, and I found it way, way, way too much. Way too much River. All the excesses of the character, all the wisecracking, and several story strands running at the same time. I found it way, way too much. Overwritten is what I'd use. But hey, if you enjoyed it, that's cool. Lord Thoth says she's beautiful. Vanessa Law says, I love her a lot, but the story is done, please. No, Terry, that's a pretty hard line.
I think
Jim says,
slap her in some prosthetics and play a completely different character. Be fine.
Well, yeah. I guess.
You could do that. You could pop in old actors as new characters. Carol Jude says, I've adored Alex ever since she was doing surgery in Chicago. When she showed up on Doctor Who, I couldn't believe it. Love her. And I love River. However they could bring her back, it would be amazing. So yeah, I think that's the way. I think how Carol feels about her is kind of the way a lot of people feel about her. Peter Harrington's remembering that role in Mole Flanders back in the early 90s. Yeah, that was, I think you could call that bawdy. Did you watch that one, Terry?
I didn't, but I heard some terrible things about it. No, yeah, that was her,
heaving corsets and things like that.
Saucy night evening show, wasn't it, or something?
Always good with heaving corsets. Always.
Was indeed. Derek McManus says River Song is done. There's no fat on that, Derek. Tell us what you think. Some people just don't care about the story. They just want to see familiar faces. That's kind of what Simon Horton was saying a few weeks ago. Just bring them all back. Worry about how later. Retro.Gary Akers says they could do a special with her and Matt Smith set just after Amy and Rory left. There are those pockets, just like there are in classic eras, I think, Charlotte. But they could drop these stories in, I suppose, if they wanted to sort of connect with the characters then and just show us an adventure that we never got to see before. That's not unreasonable, is it?
Oh, no, it's not unreasonable, especially when it felt like, especially in the modern run, they built in these, gaps almost on purpose so we could have these little, I wonder what if sort of situations. But I agree. I didn't find she had good chemistry with Matt, and I adored Matt.
I didn't think so either.
I didn't think so either.
I actually thought what I did love is when she was with Peter. That scene when they're at the singing towers. I can't remember what it was called. That scene was lovely, and the chemistry, they bounced off each other. Whereas with River and Matt, I almost felt it was more like a brother and sister.
Yeah, and then they
Sort
kissed,
of
and I went, like
Yeah.
that. So.
I think they did have chemistry, but she had way better chemistry.
No, she was his mum. It's so creepy. It's like his mother. It's like, no, don't kiss your mother. What's going on?
Peter Harrington says her first entrance couldn't be bettered back in Silence in the Library.
Oh, yeah.
Because that was where, when we first meet her in Silence in the Library, we know, well, that was the idea, that was her destiny, wasn't it? Even though that was the first time the Doctor was meeting her, it was the last time that she was going to meet him.
Yes.
And it was the real end to the story. In some respects, one of several moments, I think, and exchanges between the Doctor and the recurring characters that has this real weight to it. And we've spoken a little because we still don't know the shape of the 60th anniversary material. It's obvious that it's not going to be just a one-off special. This is going to be something bigger, and that the story is going to weave. It's going to weave somehow. But what I was thinking though, Ian, is that Donna, her story was also done. Her story also ended tragically.
It was, yeah.
And yet they appear to be opening that up again, don't they? So if they can open that up for Donna, then they probably could for River.
he doesn't look like the Doctor in any of the shots we've seen. I'm curious to the 60th. I want to know where this is set. Is it set in the alternative universe, or is it set in the universe that we know? Because every time we see Tennant, he's not wearing the Doctor Who garb. He's not. So the question is,
interesting.
Where are we? There?
I've heard an explanation for that. And again, it's a rumor, but
spoiler.
no, but like a lot of the rumors you hear, it's from people who are kind of close to the production, and all I've heard it was along the lines of however he's brought into the story, because they were shooting in Camden, and obviously it's like, oh, he's picked out some clothes from Camden Market that kind of resemble his previous outfit. That's all I've heard.
Why would he do that?
Because he was naked. Ian.
did he have Jodie's costume on? He was like, "Oh, damn it!
That.
Gotta get some clothes."
Yeah, we'll have to talk about this again, won't we? Because I mean, to me, it looks. I don't know that he's playing the 10th Doctor, but he's certainly playing his Doctor again.
Yeah.
And that suit. You know, if a character's got a blue suit, a brown suit, why shouldn't they have a plaid suit as well? It's the same silhouette.
Also,
it's the same character.
I hope that whoever they put in the 60th, no matter how many episodes it is, I hope it's a well-constructed story, because there's a tendency just to stick people in there because you can, and then the story seems a bit. You look at the last Jurassic Park movie; that was just rubbish.
Yeah,
I just hope Russell T has created a good, solid story that has a good reason to have the people that he has in it. That's fingers crossed on that one. Yeah,
he's very good at that, though, isn't he? He's very good at world building.
Yeah.
So
I definitely think so. And in such a way as well. And I think Stephen Moffat, I think that was a strength of his too, Shaw. But I think that Stephen struggled to finish, to bring the characters' own arcs in line with the plots.
Yeah.
That it all made sense, that it all gelled, and that left us feeling like we've been told a complete story. And I'd like to think that some of the things that he left hanging over were for other people to pick up later, but I don't think they were. Tony L says, I loved River, excellent character, but she had a brilliant ending, the Husbands of River song, and it would be an anticlimax to bring her back like they did with Clara. I think she's a different character to a standard companion, this recurring character. But I know what you're saying, that you should know when to leave things alone. David Hammond says, Alex Kingston was excellent, but I found she was much better written in the Library two-parter and the Husbands of River song. So obviously back in the original, in the Library two-parter, that was written by Stephen Moffat, but it would have been given a rewrite of sorts by Russell T Davies. I think he looked at most of those scripts again. And
do you know
Simon
what?
Ashley says, sorry, Ian, that I would be too upset to see a bit more of River song. What are you going to say? Sorry, mate.
I was going to say that I hope Russell T does, because, like, for instance, in my opinion, Peter Capaldi is one of the best Doctors, in my opinion, but he was given rubbish stories. Maybe what he's trying to do is trying to give them a conclusion, a good finishing point, like they did in Spider-Man No Way Home with the other Spider-Man and the bad guys and stuff. Maybe that's what he's thinking here. Look, it'll be a tragedy if they didn't bring Peter back up for the 60th, because I'd just love to see it. I think Peter got the short end of the stick. I'd rather see him back than Alex Kingston, definitely. But fingers crossed, as I say.
Probably a universe. I believe that most people would rather see more Doctors than more recurring characters. And when there's so many Doctors now, Terry, we've got 13 of them, depending. I mean, there's a great deal of support in the live chat here tonight on YouTube for Fraser Hines playing the second Doctor.
Oh, do you know what? Right, he does look a bit like him. And I bet you he can do a great impersonation of him.
He can do a spot-on impression.
Ian, it's not just an in-person. It's not like just him doing the voice. If you ever watch him on a panel or live do it,
right,
his face changes. He becomes the second Doctor. It's uncanny. Try and find it on YouTube. He's so you can tell because he got on. He just loved Pat and he got on so well that he can just become him. And it's magical to watch. So try and find it on YouTube. Just connect with his persona. Yeah. We've got a last one here from Vanessa Law who says, Ian, that kiss was hot. I think she's talking about the one between Matt Smith and Alex Kingston.
Not one that you guys had, no.
What are you not telling us, Ian? What are you not telling us?
No.
Yeah, we've got another quote from Alex Kingston. Previously, I think this was earlier this year, she was a guest on the One Show. Like everybody, I think sooner or later, everybody's numbers up and they have to go on the One Show. And she was asked about going back to the show then. This was last year. I think it would have been before Russell came and took it back. But she said then, of course I would want to come back. I feel like River, she started at the end, as it were. So there was only one way to go, which is forward and to continue living. I have no idea what any of that means.
She died.
She obviously does. And obviously he's never going to say no to playing that character. And, you know, I have to think that if they can bring Donna back, then maybe they could hurt too. Don't rule it out for something in the future. I think there's a lot of things that are going to be revealed, that are going to be announced about whatever this material is going to be. It seems to me it's a mini-series or maybe even a season. I don't know. It remains to be seen. I can't wait to find out. Let us know what you think in the comments section here on YouTube. What do you think? Where do you think they're going with this? How much material do you think that they're filming? Because they are still filming at the moment. They're in the studio as we speak. David Tennant's not there. Who is there? We don't
Matt Smith.
know.
Matt Smith.
They're on location.
There.
They're back on location at the end of the month. We'll have some more about that on a further show. But yeah, clearly the show is still being made. So given the fact that they're clearly not going to tell us anybody involved in it, whether it's a recurring character like Alex Kingston as River Song, or any of the doctors or companions or monsters or whatever they've got in store for the 60th, they're going to keep it under wraps if they can. If they can keep it off the streets of Britain, then they're going to keep it out of the papers. I think that's preferable. That's how you keep something special. And hopefully the 60th anniversary is going to be very, very special indeed.
Oh,
Let us know
so.
what you think. What's on your wish list? Sure. We'll have to, actually, all of us, we'll have to get together soon and compile a bit of a wish list before they start announcing more things. And the same to you guys that are watching and people that are listening. Let us know what you think. Get in touch. If you've got a top 5 things, places, people, recurring characters, monsters, or even just ideas that you'd like to see brought back, what should they bring back next for that 60th anniversary? Simon Ashley says, I saw someone dressed as a second Doctor Who at the London Film Comic Con. It was a very good likeness.
I'd love to have seen a
Don't
photo.
talk to me about Doctor Who cosplay.
I'm thinking about going to the one in September. I don't know if anyone's been to the September one.
Where's that?
Sorry?
Where's that? Where are they hosting
London.
that? Is there another one in London?
Yeah, in September. So if anyone has gone to that or is going to that, please let me know what it's like, because I've never been to one before. And I have got another costume that I'm going to wear there, so I'm really excited.
Is that the one in Heathrow Airport?
I don't know 100% because I'm trying not to get my hopes up of going.
Or is it Gatwick? I can't remember.
I think I think they do something at Gatwick. Yeah,
Yeah.
Time flight, isn't it? Time flight.
That rings a bell.
Not 100%, but if someone can enlighten me, that'd be wonderful.
Somebody, what? What you say?
Someone could enlighten me, that would be great.
Oh, I see. I thought if it's okay. Yeah.
There
Sure.
there are several. We've got Whovian says it's maybe a series. So yeah, people are talking about that too. I suppose we could be talking for some months to come. And Matthew Pounder, he just wants the adventures of Wilf.
Oh, I would love that too.
Don't we all? Let us know. Let us know what you think, and we'll get back to you with our thoughts before they start filling in the blanks and that cast list starts to fill up. Okay, what's next? Okay, now Simon Horton, he may be somewhere out there sunning himself. Thoughts of all things time and space far from his mind. Actually, knowing Simon, maybe they're not. But in his eagerness to pack, Ian, he left lying around, just imagine this, a truly priceless artifact. Can you guess what that is?
Don't know.
Yeah, he's on the edge of his seat, everybody. Yes, it's the Doctor Who diary.
No.
I think, forget about Simon Horton.
Time to go for a wee, everyone.
Even though Simon's not here, we're gonna take a peek anyway. But just keep this to yourselves.
Oh dear.
Okay, yes,
You
we're
had
here
a
for...
week break, Ian. You had a week break.
I
We're here,
did.
we're here for the Doctor Who diary, and to enjoy this with us, we've also got another nugget of pure Doctor Who gold. It's starry-eyed girl Sarah Graham back.
Oh my
Hello.
God. Her too.
Hi,
Bloody hell. The
Sarah.
diary
Yeah,
and
it's
starry-eyed.
a double whammy, and it's a
Oh
double
dear, oh
whammy.
dear.
Hello, everybody.
Good to see you, Sarah. You okay? You seem to be dressed like a minion. What's going on?
She is, yeah.
A cosplay. You were talking about cosplay earlier. Just.
I love it. Fantastic. I know you've had a brilliant day. Congratulations. We'll talk some more later, but it's great to see you. You'll never believe what we've got lined up later on. But yeah, we're about to get stuck into the Doctor Who diary.
Yeah,
And
I've
what
been
was...
told not to miss this, so I was like, "What's Dan got? So it better be good, Dan." I'm just
Yeah, yeah, Dan.
Okay. Well,
Good.
first of all, we're going back. Imagine this. We're going back 56 years this week to season 3 of
56.
Doctor Who. Season 3 was being brought to a close by episode 4 of The War Machines. So this was the story. It was set in then present day Earth, written by Ian Stewart Black, and it was directed by Michael Ferguson. So this had been a period of enormous change for viewers of Doctor Who. Stephen Taylor, played by Peter Purvis, he'd only departed in the previous story, and Jackie Lane's Dodo just sort of vanished into thin air midway through this one. But with this finale, the Doctor, he'd see off those pesky Wotans, Terry, and their war machines.
Can I point something out? All you
Yes.
hardcore Doctor Who fans, read the name of the character that William Hartnell's playing on that.
Yes, I
That's all
know.
I'm
It's
saying.
not a
Doctor
crime to say
Who.
that either.
He's playing Doctor Who, not the Doctor.
He was listed as Doctor Who on the end credits of the show itself, I think, until the end of season 17.
all the way up to Tom Baker.
Yeah.
In a couple of Tom Baker episodes. And the thing is, I just say that to put the cat among the pigeons because people get so up their bottoms about it. Oh, it's the Doctor. It's the Doctor. It's never been Doctor Who. It's like, yes, it
Well,
has.
it
been.
has been, yeah. It has been.
And
So don't
as Gary Akers points out, it's actually in that story as well. I think in an earlier episode,
Doctor Who is
Wotan
required.
send out that message, Doctor Who is required.
Oh,
Yeah.
Good call.
And yes, it's and Mike Reed, who obviously the late Mike Reed, comedian and actor, he was also in this in a sort of as a sort of stuntman. But yeah, this was also the episode
Run around
that
there.
Michael Craze and Aniki Wills, they joined permanently as Ben and Polly. So I know that some of you are deeper into the classic show than others. Charlotte, I always ask you this first. Have you seen The War Machines? Is this a 4-parter? Has this made it onto your screen yet?
No, but I have seen some with Ben and Polly in. I just haven't seen this one.
Yeah.
Those
And I'm
terrible
going to be honest,
robots.
I don't like Ben at all. He
Nor do
gets
I.
on.
No,
I don't even
I-
like the
I-
TARDIS behind
thought
him.
it was
Look,
the
it's
only
all the wrong
one.
shape.
Yeah,
I thought it was the
I-
only one.
I just find him like overly
Irritating.
argumentative for
Yes.
no apparent reason.
going to shout at you, young man.
Yes.
It does get a little like that, and some of the companions, I think, it was almost like a revolving door of them around that time because Innes Lloyd had taken over as producer, and they were trying lots of different things. Some of it stuck, some of it didn't, and I know that some of the actors and actresses, they lived with what they felt was rejection for quite a long time. Some of them were quite bitter about the treatment that they received on the show when they tried to make it work again. I think the show continued to work for viewers, Sarah, but that early dynamic of the original 4 with Ian and Barbara, the Doctor and Susan Stroke Vicky, I think that was a difficult thing for them to recapture.
I think so. It's because everybody had tuned in for that dynamic, and it works so well. I know even when Susan left, it's still, Vicky, she kind of still fulfilled that role.
Yeah.
So I think it was definitely when Ian and Barbara both departed. I think there definitely was, this period where it just wasn't the same, and they were just trying, different things. But I got to agree with Charlotte and Ian. It's Ben and Polly. I'm not really. And I'm waiting for the comment from RetroDoc because we watched The Power of the Daleks, and every episode I was like, oh, why is Ben and Polly so annoying?
Yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah, there's a strange. It's a strange combo, and the show would continue to be in a state of unrest when it would come back for season 4, and Patrick Troughton would be along pretty quick into that run.
Well,
But I love the
good
War
because-
Machines. This is a fast story in for the classic show. There's lots of, I wouldn't say there's lots of action. Can you describe it as action when it's that slow, Terry? But it's fun. Would you ever build a Wotan, Terry?
No, no, you won't.
Yeah, when I get to the point where I don't want, you know, my dodgy knee gives out, and I can just sit in a sort of little motorized wheelchair, like they do with the Daleks, and just drive a Wotan around plonking.
But one thing it was saying, BBC was saying that William Hartnell was the star. That's what they were saying, right? It didn't matter how many people surrounded him.
Yes,
that's what
This
Hartnell
man
saying.
was the star of this show. And it actually, you know, when the others left and they brought in Ian, he was, you know, obviously Hartnell was still there. He was the show. Do you know what I mean? They couldn't get rid of him until obviously he couldn't do it anymore. So, so that's what it was saying, really. But yeah, I agree. That guy, he was so irritating. Oh my Lord. He really needed to get zapped by a Dalek, didn't he? Let's face it. He really did.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Let's move on a little and issue some birthday greetings, I think. Let's bring it a bit more up to date. Happy 70th birthday to Celia Imrie, one of the best known faces, I think.
Yes.
On
I do
British
like her.
TV. Very
I do like her.
successful and recognizable actress and author, best known for movie roles, I think, in the Bridget Jones films, in Calendar Girls, Nanny
Phantom
McPhee,
Menace.
The Best Exotic Marigold Hotel. She's in that. She's in Mamma Mia. And she's in one of my all-time favourite films, Highlander, Ian. She plays a buxom-serving wench in there that Christophe Lambert has a bit of a tussle with.
You haven't mentioned the thing that a lot of people forget she was in.
Oh,
The
God,
New
you mentioned it then.
Okay, so she was in the video that Michael Caine was teaching how to act, and she was an unknown then, and she assisted him. So if you go on YouTube, and you type in Michael Caine teaches how to act, you will see she's one of his students before she was famous.
Wow.
So nobody talks about that. No one talks about it. It's crazy.
I thought you were going to mention the New Statesman, just like Terry.
No,
So
everybody knows she was in the New Statesman.
She played the Prime Minister's secretary, didn't she? Who was having the affair with Alan Bastard at various points. And so she's a great comic timing. She's good in drama too. And of course, it was inevitable that with all the TV work that she'd done, you know, right from the 80s, she was in the things you'd expect, stuff like Bergerac and all that kind of thing. Yeah. And Oranges Are Not the Only Fruit and Casualty and Ab Fab, all these things. So it was probably inevitable that eventually she'd turn up in Doctor Who, Shah. So she played Miss Kislet in The Bells of St. John back in 2013 opposite Matt Smith. Do you remember the character that she played in that? Was she just a bit of a bad guy?
It was an absolute waste of a great actress.
It was.
That is probably one of my least favorite Doctor Who episodes, and it's a Matt Smith episode, so you know I mean business when I say that. I can't.
Do you remember that bit where she just stands there like they go when the doctor's head was turning around really slowly? She couldn't run off or anything, just like
I
was so bad.
I had forgotten she was even in it. That's not a great song.
Such a waste.
I like that.
She's probably got the best scene. She's probably got the best scene in that whole episode because you realise at the end that she was a child when she got taken.
And
that was sad.
When she's on the floor, like rocking, and she goes, "Where's Mummy and Daddy?" And it's just like, oh God, that's like the best part of this whole episode.
That should have been explode more. That really should have done. But
yeah.
And he's driving up the up the Shard with the
I'd hold with that. Silly. A bit of a waste of a great actress. She's good in the scenes opposite Matt Smith, from what I can remember. Yeah. But the character, it was one of those where we think we know who the bad guy is, but it turns out to be somebody else, which does seem like shortchanging an actress like Celia Imrie, who's continued to be incredibly successful throughout her career and is now a novelist too. But Terry, I suspect that you also noticed her in a Star Wars film.
I did a double take because she literally popped up as a pilot near the end battle, talking in an American accent, and that was it. And I was like, was that Celia Imrie? Where the heck?
So which Star Wars movie was this again?
The Phantom Menace, the first of the prequels.
I spotted her right away in this film.
Yeah.
Right away. I'm like,
but I was like, what is
she doing in it? It's like remember, Terry, the first Star Wars film had the guy from Crossroads in it. He played one of the pilots as well.
You're right.
Yeah, he was in
Guy
it.
from
He got blown up.
Crossroads, the guy who used to wear the woolly hat, Paul Henry.
No, not him. Not him. Another guy.
Well, so how would he get the headgear over the hat? Oh, whatever. Okay, yeah. So happy 70th birthday to Celia Imrie. I would imagine she's going to keep turning up in movies and TV, and maybe she'll get a second stab in Doctor Who.
I don't know. I think she'd make a good Rani, actually.
Rani?
Ooh.
Don't put ideas in Russell T's head.
Absolutely delicious. Tony L says Celia is in an Ace US show. I'm glad I'm not the only person who still uses the word Ace, Tony. Thanks for that. Yeah, she's in an Ace US show at the moment called Better Things. Season 5 starts on BBC Two this Sunday. And what's Better Things? Anybody seen this? I've never heard of this one.
No.
Stranger Things, yeah. Better Things, no. So let's know in the chat, what's Better Things? How much better is it than other things? Well, I'm all ears. And if it's a fantasy drama, even more so. Let's move on a little to another birthday. Sticking with the new series too. Happy 38th birthday to Florence Hoth.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God! Do you want?
Oh my god.
Okay. Do you know Florence?
Close friends.
Is she my mummy?
So Florence Hoth turns 38 this week, and although she's no longer acting, you could gather there from various reactions on the panel that Florence is a real favourite with the Doctor Who fans. I think we immediately latched onto her playing Nancy in Stephen Moffat's The Empty Child and The Doctor Dances, Sarah. But she was born in London. She made her film debut aged just 8 years old, and has been in a dozen movies and TV shows right the way through from the early to mid 90s. What was it called? Fairy Tale: A True Story. I think Paul McGann was in that as well. Goodbye, Mr. Chips with John Thor. I think that was one of John Thor's last roles. And Miss Marple, all those kind of shows.
Why did she stop acting?
Right until her last credit was something called Lost in Austin back in 2008 for ITV. That was a fantasy TV show, also starring Alex Kingston amongst others. But yeah, Florence Hoth no longer acts. Don't know what she does. She's on Twitter and she seems happy enough. But yeah, this character Sarah, Nancy in The Empty Child, she's very much the heart of that story, that seminal story.
She's a brilliant foil for the Doctor as well. I love their chemistry, with the comments she makes about his ears and his nose, and very much. She's been a brilliant companion. She's very, resourceful. She's caring.
Everybody lives.
For them kids, yeah. She takes charge, and you think if it had been another situation, I could just see her being, I think she'd be brilliant. But yeah, she's absolutely hit it. And it was nice. As much as I like Rose in series 1, it was nice for the Doctor to have, more time with another person. It just brought out a different side. And then you got the thing about that he was a dad. And he knew a thing or two about war as well, and all these little breadcrumbs that would lead up. But yes, you can't imagine that story without Nancy. She is really.
Well, Rose was making googly eyes with Captain Jack, wasn't she, at the time? So you know what I mean. what a tart.
Yeah, that's for Rose.
Yeah, Rose.
Carol Jude adds that Nancy rocked. She's so capable, and Wendy just nailed it. Would have been a great companion.
Who's Wendy?
I have no idea. I think she means Florence. Yeah, Florence just nailed it. Would have been a great companion. Oh, yeah.
She would have.
Oh no, she means she's getting you mixed up.
Wendyology.
Oh,
Tony. But yeah, whenever we talk about this, is one of those stories, Terry, just like the Robots of Death. Whenever we mention the title of it, The Empty Child's exactly the same. People just gasp. Everything about this story seems to connect with people. Poor Ian, he's a bad. Someone needs to give him the Heimlich maneuver. The cat's going to come in and sort him out in a minute.
Yeah, the Empty Child story was a lovely, self-contained, story where everything happened all in this one story, and it had this this thing, to see the Doctor so excited about everybody lives just this once. It was great. That it's like a nice thing all the way through it, and set in wartime. Brought in Captain Jack out of the blue as well, which is interesting. So yeah, it did really well.
Yeah, and
I loved it.
obviously,
I loved
it's sad to see people leave the profession, but we hear that people aren't acting anymore, Shah. But because a lot of us who are in the fandom think how much we'd love to be in the show. But I suppose, particularly if she's been acting since she was 8, maybe she just had enough. Maybe other things in life that she wanted to do.
maybe
What do
a
you think?
family. Maybe she stopped to, concentrate on her family and stuff. That's, that a lot of actresses do that. So there's nothing wrong with that. She wants to stop. But let's just make it known that she's a really good actress, as far as I'm concerned. Sorry.
What do you think? What do you think, Shah?
No, that was it. Like I said, I only said it was a shame because I thought she's great.
Yeah.
And she could have gone really, really far. But like you said, she's been acting since she was 8. How many people have a job for 20 years and keep the same profession? So
That's true.
I get that.
Yeah.
Oh, it was me.
Richard Brooks says
I
that
definitely
Ian
need one.
needs a cornet.
I might get one actually when we have the pee break. We should have a pee break for this, but yeah.
That is it. We're closing the Doctor Who diary for
Thank
this
God.
time. But let's know your
great minds.
we'll see. Yes, leave your birthday messages for Celia and for Florence in the comment section. We may pass them on to them. I know that Florence is definitely on Twitter. I'm sure she'll love that.
They're both
and
watching.
Your thoughts about the war machines. I would imagine that they are. I think Celia, I imagine that Celia is probably out on the lash at the moment. She'll certainly, she'll be onto the kebab in around half an hour, I would imagine. And
soak up all
it's
that
a waste
beer.
of time. Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, binge drinker, definitely. Well, yes, thank you to Simon Horton, as always, for putting that together for us.
Cheers,
And it's
Simon.
looking forward to
Shouldn't have bothered, Simon.
forward to his return. But that's
Still with
it.
his spirit, still winding Ian up.
That's it for the Doctor Who diary for this time. And Ian's quite right. It's that time again. You can heave a sigh. You can heave a sigh of relief, mate. You can hear the relaxation already in Ian's voice as he prepares to point Percy at the porcelain and to take advantage. To take advantage.
How do you know I call it that?
To take advantage.
I never want to hear that saying ever again.
The type
Don't look at it.
I'm never going to look at Percy Pigs in the same way now.
You don't get this on Radio Free Scaro, do you, everybody? Okay, so it is the Type 40 ad break. It's a little different this time. We're going to prepare you for what's coming afterwards. You're not going to forget this break, but just in case you also are itching to relieve oneself, or you just want to top up your glass, you can always watch it back later on. Everybody else, enjoy the latest Type 40 ad break. We'll see you back here in a couple of minutes for more Doctor Who talk.
Tonight's show is a little different. Tonight's show is about a man who's not really a man. He's a doctor, but he's not really a doctor. Like Dr. Phil, but awesome. Most people in the United States of America have not heard of him. He's just like me in that regard. Who is he? He's the Doctor.
Uncertain universe. You are correct in your summation of his character, my profane rabbit friend. Ooh, tell me more. The show will be running in Britain almost 50 years, with many different actors in the role of the Doctor.
The Doctor doesn't die, he
just regenerates. The crocodile alligator speaks the truth. One thing is consistent though, and this is why the show is so beloved by geeks and nerds. It's all about the triumph of intellect and romance over brute force and cynicism. Intellect and romance over brute force and cynicism. And if there is any hope for any of us in this giant explosion in which we inhabit, then surely that's it. Intellect and romance triumph over brute force and cynicism. Right, Doctor? Absolutely.
That was the best thing I've ever seen in my life.
It was amazing. What is that?
I'm really sad to see it end.
What? I didn't see it. I was in the loo.
Oh,
The ending speaks the truth.
The ending was the best.
You know what Ian's got to do, seeing as he missed it, he's got to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and put it in the watch later function there on YouTube, and to hit like and all that kind of thing, and give us another view too. You can relive that.
Everyone here has to like. You guys here have to like.
I always do. Thank you very much.
Always do.
You liar.
Marvelous stuff.
Already
Marvelous
did.
So yeah, if you like that, I hate to say things are going to get considerably worse. So so buckle up, because you're not going to believe what I'm going to inflict on your ears on this show. Already done, says Kelly. I think she's talking about the Cyberman Strikes.
One ever. Sorry.
No, it's got the original.
You've got one.
Of course.
Yeah.
Good man, sir. Good man. Fill your boots. Fill your boots. Cyberman Strikes says, "How had I never seen that?" And Lord Thoth had never seen that before either. There's a very good reason for that. It was obviously for what's that show called? It's called not the Tonight Show. It's the one that James Corden presents now, isn't it?
It's the late.
That's the
show.
one.
The Late Show with Craig Ferguson.
Yeah.
He
wanted to be the Doctor, didn't he?
He went to school with Peter Capaldi, and they were in the same rock band.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They were.
And
they were called the Dream Boys, weren't they?
Yeah, you should watch his dig out his clips on YouTube, because he's had Karen Gillan on 3 or 4 times, and they're just hilarious together. She's amazing.
I was going to say, has he not been in the show? Because I'm amazed he hasn't at least had a guest spot at this point.
No, he's a dyed-in-the-wool American now. He's got an American tattoo on his arm that's got all like the stars and stripes on it. He's like, "Oh, I'm dual nationality now. I stay here in the States." So yeah,
I do like him. I remember him best as Confidence from the classic Red Dwarf episode, Confidence and Paranoia, back in 1988. But that scene, there's a reason why people haven't seen it. It's because it was never broadcast. It was obviously rehearsed quite strictly there, I think, Shah. That routine was quite impressive, and it's a very tight dance routine.
It was something.
I'll make sure there's a link to that in the description too, and in the show notes, so you can see for yourselves and treasure that wonderful clip there with Craig Ferguson and a brief appearance by Matt Smith. But we're going all musical
as well. Matt Smith, he looks so good.
Bless his
thin
heart.
as well.
He did indeed. We're going musical now, specifically regarding songs, because obviously that was a bespoke written song about Craig Ferguson's connection with Doctor Who. We talked about it quite a lot, and in some ways, I think that did encapsulate the show really quite well in a very sort of flippant way. And it's a shame. I suppose it's a shame it didn't get broadcast, but we get to enjoy it in that form now. But the Doctor Who theme tune itself is an absolute standout classic, composed back in 1963 by Ron Grainer, initially arranged and performed by Delia Derbyshire and the BBC Radiophonic Workshop, and now accepted as a classic, I suppose, if not timeless, certainly ahead of its time, and venerated, Ian, I think, by musicians, just as it's cherished by us fans. But some people, believe it or not, Ian, they cannot help themselves but to try and improve on such perfection. Can you believe this?
You mean Dominic Glynn and who's the other one?
I love Dominic's
little
version
guy.
of the theme. I do. We've got a message here from Will Hadcroft. Hiya, Will, who says, Geek Rambles, lovely to see you on here.
I will.
Yeah, but you would think, people trying to improve on perfection, Sarah. Could you believe it? Now, when you listen to that piece of music, do you think there's anything missing? The original Doctor Who theme tune, because I never have. But some people,
loaded question, this isn't it?
This is
some people do. Some people, Terry, think that it's missing something very specific. I've got no lyrics here.
Mate,
lyrics. I'm talking about lyrics. Now, can you believe it? I remember a few years ago, somebody put the Star Trek theme tune to lyrics. In fact, I think that was connected to Gene Roddenberry. It was like back in the 60s. But it turns out somebody has tried to put the Doctor Who theme tune to music. And I've got the lyrics. I've got the lyrics here, everybody. I'm not going to sing it. You're okay with me.
Oh,
Okay, so this is Doctor Who, the theme song. And it says, one fateful day in 63, a man staggered out of the fog.
I know who wrote this.
Yeah, I saw this.
We wondered then, who could he be? Our minds ran riot, and so did he. Exciting journeys through time and space. Unknown perils he had to face. I think this is supposed to go da-da-da-dum, da-da-da, like that. Celery, recorder, jelly babies as well. It's the Doctor. You can tell. 6 faces have travelled far and wide with faithful companions at their side. The Doctor's been hung, drowned, shot and killed. Blimey, this is a real.
Dark really quick.
This is a joy, isn't it? It is. I didn't think it was going to go quite that dark, but yet it carries on, and it doesn't get. I have to say, everybody, it doesn't get any better. There's talk of jelly babies and all the things. Mary Whitehouse criticised because the show was too violent in her eyes. It's now a national institution and should be part of the Constitution. My God. The good old Doctor soldiers on. He's the best, second to none. And that's the chorus, believe it or not. The bit about the celery, recorder, jelly babies as well. It's the Doctor, you can tell. Ouch. This is absolute agony. And I think people in the chat, amazingly, the views are going up.
I want to hear it. I want to hear it.
Well, it's never been recorded by anybody, and there could be a reason for that. So Matt Strike says it was the person who wrote Doctor in Distress, isn't it? No, it isn't. It's even better. It's Mr. Chris Chibnall from Formby in Liverpool.
I was waiting for it because I've seen it before.
Is that
down?
real?
The viewing figures are going down immediately.
Yeah.
So this is
I'm
the work.
joking. He did not write that.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Okay, so this is the work.
Now it makes sense.
This is Doctor Who, the theme song. The work of Chris Chibnall. I've got no idea how old he was then. No idea at all. But old enough to certainly know better, I would think.
A week ago.
To say it's lumpy, Terry, is putting it mildly. And as bad as that is, Sarah, that's still only the second worst thing he's ever written after The Timeless Children, isn't it?
It's
right. Extraordinary.
Just shows you. I'm not going to even make comments. Like, yeah, whatever.
Ian, you seem speechless, my friend.
Well, yeah, it kind of makes sense, doesn't it, that he wrote that? Because it's absolute nonsense, isn't it? Same thing with all his writing on Doctor Who. Complete and utter rubbish. There you go. Makes sense.
Yes,
I'd still like to hear somebody sing it, though.
Well,
that'd be hilarious.
If we do end up getting drunk in London together, Ian, I'll sing it. There you go.
Okay. Bring the lyrics. I'll sing with you.
Yeah.
Karaoke.
Sure, we'll do that with the hand actions from that other video.
He's not amused, everybody. He's not amused. So, yeah, what do you think? Do you think this is a lucky escape for us then, Charlotte?
Just a bit. But I'm just thinking it makes so much sense that he had a whole chorus about how the Doctor's been killed multiple times.
Mm.
Where does... Oh, have I come through?
No, we can hear you fine.
I say, where have we seen that before, Chibnall? Multiple killings of a Doctor. Yeah, now it makes sense.
Let's see what people think of this in the live chat. Tony Hill says, "Oh no, I'm trying to be kind, but it's a bit grim." Richard Brooks isn't a fan. I think it's safe to say.
That's what you really feel, Richard.
Gosh,
Lord Thoth, he's not impressed either with Chris Chibnall's work. As a songwriter. Please, Dan, post that photo on Facebook of the lyrics. I shall, of course, I shall. This will also be on the social
do a Type
media.
40 charity single with headphones on, couldn't we?
We could. That'd be good. That'd be good. Darren Zone. Hi, Darren says Chibnall wrote that. Well, it could have been better written, as the saying goes. I think he's quoting Chris Chibnall's appearance on Open Air there. Peter Harrington is also going zero tolerance on Chris Chibnall. And Al Wachowski, I don't think he's impressed either. I don't know.
I was wondering what that photo was then. I was like,
I don't. I think it's it looks it looks forensic,
scary.
doesn't it? I don't. It looks. I'm not going to ask where that is.
Peter Owl.
And Daniel Leach is in absolute bits. So yeah, that's the Doctor Who lyrics, courtesy of Chris Chibnall. I'm not going to sing it. I think we could probably be chanted at best. Absolutely appalling. And I had to really lead with that because I think it makes this stuff look a little bit better. So the history of Doctor Who, Terry, I know you're going to be aware of this. As a recording artist yourself, it's littered with what I think we can call novelty songs that are kind of cherished. Is that?
Litter is probably the good word. No, I mean, to be honest, when you've got a TV show that's a phenomenon and it spurs, all these kind of charity songs and kind of versions of the theme tune of anything. I mean, look at Anita Dobson's "Anyone Can Fall in Love" to the tune of EastEnders.
yeah.
I mean, there's no way it's ever going to be done well. To be honest, comparing everything that we know of Doctor Who themed or based songs and stuff, the only thing I could think of that was bearable was that first bit of music we saw in the break, which was actually Orbital's version of the Doctor Who theme.
Yeah.
Because that's the closest you can get to kind of making it cool. But when you were talking about this Chris Chibnall abomination just now, I was thinking, oh, he's going to bring up the. I'm sure you're going to bring it up in a minute, the Pertwee version. So much.
Well, it's funny you mentioned the Orbital thing because obviously Matt Smith was on stage with them too at Glastonbury. I think that was the year that he took over the role of the Doctor, around 2009, 2010. In that great big coat, all floppy hair and charisma, and wearing your headgear there, Charlotte, I think.
I love that coat.
He's just so cool.
Was he
looking up,
cool.
going, "Come on, then, I'm here, the Doctor."
Could be.
The Doctor's there.
Yes, the history of Doctor Who. There are these songs that most of us, I think, have heard of them, even if we haven't heard them. I'm going to inflict some of them on you tonight.
No.
If YouTube's copyright strike conditions will permit me to. Already we're getting people dropping the names of a lot of them in the live chat on YouTube and Facebook. And yes, Jamie Knight says, I'll copyright strike you myself if you sing that. Thank you.
Jamie, I'm going to record that now in the voice of Roger Delgado just for you.
Yes, so I think the most notorious of all, let's get it out of the way. I'm sorry, Paul, if you're watching, mate. But Doctor in Distress is probably the one that people talk about the most, for better or worse. You know what, Shah? I'm kind of fond of Doctor in Distress. It's just been released as part of the season 22 box set. A huge 8-disc box set from
there's a
the Doctor Who
box set, isn't there?
Blu-ray collection. Yeah, the video is on there for people who've heard the name, the legendary name Doctor in Distress, and don't know what it's all about. But yeah, it's a notorious single from March 1985. So the month earlier, the cancellation crisis had hit with Doctor Who, and very, very quickly, certain factions sprang into action, didn't they, and made this happen. It was a way of trying to sort of raise public awareness, really, and to get public affection behind Doctor Who, and to get momentum against the management at the BBC, against Bill Cotton and Michael Graydon, their decision to take Doctor Who off. So it was made, it was on the Record Shack Records label, Ian, if you remember them, and issued as both a 7 and a 12-inch single. It was a charity record, to be fair to them. I think we can put that out there. It was, the idea was the profits would go to cancer relief.
Cancer, yeah.
And it's okay, so it was released 2 weeks. That's all it took, 2 weeks to get this single together. So it was recorded quite speedily, I think.
I'm not surprised it took that long.
Is this what inspired Live Aid?
Yeah.
Well, not quite. Live Aid, the concert Live Aid happened a month or two later. That was in July 1985. Do they know it's Christmas? The single had been released the Christmas before. So I think that the gentleman who had the idea, well, I suspect that it was more an idle thought that was put out there. And, I think the guy who had the idea, Tally Thompson from Man About the House, she's one of several, one of several people involved. So, the guy who offered this idea to JNT, I think he was half joking. But he's actually been on this show. I'd like to get him on to talk about it again. But, between them, everybody who was involved. So we've got, obviously, Ian Levine. He was a driving force behind this too. Ian, for everything that we know him as in Doctor Who circles, as this big collector and a missing episodes hunter and an impassioned voice commentator on all things Doctor Who. In his day job, Terry, he is a noted, accomplished record producer, isn't he?
He is. He's a big, especially in the 80s. Almost every 12-inch version of a popular song that came out by British artists had an Ian Levine remix on it. I've seen his name on so much stuff. So, I mean, fair play. You got to get your work where you can. And to think there's a 12-inches, I bet it's the one record that no one's ever managed to get to the very end of it without dying.
I have heard it.
Don't let it go viral, or kids. Don't do it, kids. Don't do it, kids. It's just not worth it.
The lyrics were written by Ian Levine and his partner Fiarcha Trench, who had been responsible a couple of years earlier for the Canine and Company theme tune, which also gets a lot of heat. And it involved Sally Thompson, as you said, Ian, Faith Brown, who had been in Doctor Who that season, Bobby G from Bucks Fizz, a really big group at the time, Justin Hayward from the Moody Blues, he was there, believe it or not. Warren Cann from Ultravox was on board, as were Colin Baker, Nicola Bryant, Anthony Ainley, and Nicholas Courtney from the Doctor Who cast, past and present. I know. We've got a few confessions in the chat from people who do own this, and nobody's owned up to the 7-inch yet. A little bit of trivia. Hans Zimmer, who is now a huge name in movie scores for DC movies and all that kind of thing. That Wonder Woman theme, that's one of his. He works a lot with Christopher Nolan. Now, he worked on this too. He was a major Doctor Who fan. I know. It's absolutely extraordinary. And to talk about it and not play a little of it, I think would be a crime. An absolute crime.
I think it's going to be a crime to play it. Oh, God. Exactly what I think.
Stop it now.
To accept 6 doctors with companions at their side.
Graphic show. This is the best bit. Most of these people can sing.
The brigadier and a master. And a canine computer.
Love those guys. What the blacks? Ant and Dick, weren't they? Ian. Here's Ant. He's gone.
Cut.
I love to live.
Thank you for that, Dan.
Ian. Yes, I told you it could be hard going, didn't I? So this came with a sticker too, which from the Daily Star that just said "Save Doctor Who" and Colin Baker's wonderful face there that you could put on the old car there.
That would save Doctor Who. Why would
they the Ford Princess?
Nailing the coffin.
Do you know what? As much as I was hating that the whole way through, I can't believe you missed out the Nicola Bryant bit.
I know. I was trying to be kind there. I was trying to be kind, not just on Nicola, but
I love
on
Nicola Bryant, but yeah.
Ian as well. Yeah,
I love Nicola Bryant. She's lovely. Lovely woman.
I'm sure.
Gary
she
Akers
is.
says, I'd love Ian to put out the single Mega Geek in Distress. Singing about all the things that bother
Ian's
you.
Always in
Ian.
distress.
It could be a few quid there to be that's been left hanging, I think. But yeah, a bit of trivia, everybody. There were some great people on that. Phyllis Nelson, who was a US and American singer, she was on that. Remember Move Closer? That was a big hit for her in the mid-80s. Fantastic song. She was on there. But I think that it could have been it could have been even better. This is a bit of trivia for you. Black Lace were meant to be on there, but their train got cancelled from Bradford and they missed the
I'll never criticise train strikes again.
So it could have been even better. Just think about what we could have got. Think of what you could have won.
Zero talent, isn't it?
Okay, so another bit of trivia. The single was largely panned and failed to chart in the UK. Can you believe that, Sarah? It failed to chart.
No, I can't.
It is awful. It truly is.
I don't mean to be unkind.
Inconceivable.
I love the intent, and the charity thing, but it was so bad.
The only way that would have charted is if it was a Christmas #1.
Yeah.
Like, because we just put tat on Christmas #1s in this country, so it's perfect for it.
Do you know what? They should have brought it out when Jodie came in and called it Doctor in This Dress.
She wasn't wearing a dress. That's the problem.
Doctor in these culottes.
I like Carol Jude's idea in the chat here on YouTube, Shah. She says that the Foo Fighters should probably cover that.
I completely agree. I love the Foo Fighters, and they would make. I'd do it.
It's really funny, right? Because Britain made that, and the I think it's the Americans, or I don't know, was it Americans who made Star Trekking, which was cool.
No, that was
was it British? Was it British? Was it?
Yeah,
British.
You should have hired those people.
Yeah,
you should have hired them.
Claymation video.
Were brilliant.
Yeah.
Look, you know what? If you look on YouTube, I've got 2 pop videos from the early 90s when I was in a pop rap boy band, right? And Doctor in Distress makes my music sound like Public Enemy.
Yeah, you should look it up.
Comparison.
Look it up.
Okay, so have you had enough yet, or do you want some more?
No,
well, at least
more,
you've got the worst one out of the way, so it's all going to be good for
I
him.
thought the Doctor Who Diaries was bad. Good,
well,
you're going to give us more.
Terry, you say the worst one, mate, but I think that could well be in the ear of the beholder. Have you ever heard this belter?
No.
All right, pop pickers, here it comes. Have you ever heard this belter from the Goo Goos? Here we go. I'm going to spend my Christmas with a Dalek.
Christmas with a Dalek and hug him underneath the mistletoe.
That's not bad.
Get your lighters out, everybody.
Okay, is this supposed to be 2 children singing, or is it adults?
I think it's the Munchkins.
The Chipmunks or something. This was a novelty single, believe it or not, Sarah. It was released in Christmas 1964 by the Goo Goos, Go-Go's, on a 7-inch single only. I'm going to spend my Christmas with a Dalek. So they describe it as a narrative pop song. Pop. I thought pop was short for popular. I don't know how well this did, actually, but the Goo Goos, the Go-Go's, were a semi-professional, mostly teenage band from Newcastle. And they released this as purely as a novelty thing, and there's bits of dialogue too from a Dalek.
Like Charlotte was saying, it was released at Christmas, so yeah,
things
probably did really well.
Things are excusable if they're done either for charity or at Christmas, aren't they?
Yep, definitely. I would buy that. Definitely, much better than Doctor in Distress. I think. I would like to spend Christmas with a Dalek as well.
I was just thinking that, yeah.
Had you heard that one before, Shah, or is this something you've just heard speak of?
No, I have heard this before. Not in my spare time or just because I looked at it. I have heard it.
On the old Spotify.
Yeah, I have. It's on my playlist. It's a lot better than Doctor in Distress, so I'm cool with it.
Certainly.
I like the guys in the leather and shades. They're trying to look cool, and it doesn't quite gel, I think, with the imitating kids on Because it sounds like a couple of 12-year-olds old singing it, doesn't it? Richard Brooks says it's so bad. Probably
It's not
fair
that
enough.
bad.
Not got many fans. Peter Harrington says exterminated for Christmas under the mistletoe. And Kelly,
this was the time when they used to do football songs as well, didn't they? With the football teams and all that, wasn't it? So it was a thing, wasn't it?
That's right,
wasn't it, Dan?
Yeah, it was. I think it was in the sort of Chipmunks vein, really. Matthew Pounder says a helium horror. It does sound like that, doesn't it? Kelly's asking if it's the Go-Go's, where's Belinda Carlisle? I've been asking where Belinda Carlisle is for 30 years now, and she still hasn't turned up. It's so that one is. So we put that down as least offensive in the stack.
Yeah, at least that was Christmas.
Yeah.
Do you think I've got to try harder, everybody? Would you?
Try harder.
No, don't try harder. Don't.
Okay. This one is from a few years later. This is from 1968. Ian, get your lug holes around this.
There we go.
Can you guess who this is?
There's magic in his hand. You ask and he may show it.
Can you read the label on this one?
No. Oh, is it Fraser Hines?
Fraser Hines. His pop song released in October 1968, Sarah.
Blimey, records must have been easy to make in those days. Anyone can make them.
Well, the Beatles used to record their albums in a morning or a morning and an afternoon,
yeah.
so something like this could be banged out just after breakfast, toilet break or whatever else. So that's Fraser. That's Fraser Hines with Who's Doctor Who there. Obviously, Fraser was a cast member of Doctor Who at the time, had been for a year or so, and very popular with the younger viewers of the show, very popular with the teenage girls, I think. And there was a B-side called Punch and Judy Man.
Yeah,
and,
double A sci-fi look of it.
Yeah, I think a lot of things were back then. It's very trippy and very Donovan-ish, isn't it, Terry?
It's very of its time, isn't it? It's got a very sort of 60s kind of fun type of, again, the 60s feel of all those kind of male bands, and you look at the picture, he's got his roll neck on and it's all kind of Manfred Mann, the Kinks, all that kind of malarkey. So it's not terrible. It's nowhere near as bad as Doctor in Distress. But look at Zoe in that dress. That's amazing.
Yeah.
She's gorgeous.
Yeah, there's Wendy Padbury with Patrick Troughton still talking to Fraser Hines even after he'd recorded Who's Doctor Who.
They've got the same hair, the same barber there. Look at that.
got some of the lyrics. Open your ears here. These are some of the lyrics. If you couldn't quite hear, it says he has a time machine to travel through the ages to take a look at history. He simply turns the pages.
No,
he never.
Damn it.
He never thinks of more. You get the picture.
Chris Chibnall's dad.
Yeah, so it's a bit clunky to say the least, and there's a lot of la's in this one, Sarah.
I don't mind if you la.
That's a 60s thing, isn't it?
Say no more. Well, there's a little bit of trivia attached to this as well. If you look at the label and the credits on this one, the guitarist on this track, just a year later, he'd be the founder and guitarist with the huge band Led Zeppelin.
Wow.
Jimmy Page played guitar
No way.
on Who's Doctor Who. Can you believe that?
Rock credentials there, Fraser. Nice one.
Yeah.
So it's got a sort of pedigree, I think. So who's laughing now, everybody? Who's laughing?
You said Hans Zimmer on Doctor in Distress. You're not going to beat Hans Zimmer either. Goodness me.
Yeah, people
Thank
obviously
God.
are drawing the connections there. James A. Fitzpatrick says this show is in my top 3 now. You mean this show that we're on, or the singles? I don't know. Sid Barrett, gone wrong, says Matthew Pounder. Robert Payne says they only had about 4-channel recorders back then, so the technology to make it. Looks like I joined at a bad time, says Garbage. Garbage has been late to the show. He's wondering what on earth he's missed. He needs to go back and watch the beginning of the show, doesn't he? And like the video while he's at it and subscribe to the channel. Gary Akers says, I didn't hear any bagpipes in that track. That was a major,
Can you?
major faux pas there. A major,
I think we should count our blessings, to be quite honest.
a major omission. Yeah, there's nothing. I'm not a big fan of the bagpipes. I must admit, but I think that's inoffensive, and it's very. Yeah, you're right. Actually, it is more Herman's Hermits. I was going to say the Monkeys, Terry, but it is probably more a Herman's Hermits kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think Fraser should not walk but run to the nearest singing school, basically, because he just sounded awful in that track. Absolutely bloody awful. So there you go. I hope he doesn't sing anymore.
Really was then, yeah.
Well.
Gary says it was a step down from Fraser Hines to Led Zeppelin. There you go. Yeah, and pod racing Palpatine's also here. The Primord Infectant says Doctor Who truly has a bad time in the music industry. Well, you say that. You may say that now. You might feel differently after you've heard this one. Okay, so this is by.
You got more?
I'm afraid I've got. Your ears bleeding yet?
Doing this for about 5 hours.
Check it out. Check it out. This is Who's Doctor Who? Who is the Doctor?
Beyond the mind, the empty space that circles time.
Good old John. Or is that John? Or is that?
It is John Pertwee. Yeah,
it is. I like the video.
Have you heard this one before, then, Ian?
Yes, I have. See the way he says it? I am the Doctor. Brilliant.
He's performing it, isn't he? He's very much performing it.
Yeah.
So this reminds me.
Poetry.
Price sort of thing going on there.
What was that? Sorry, Shah.
It sounded like a little bit of a Vincent Price thing going on.
Yeah.
As far as across the land. Yeah.
Telly Savalas and If, isn't it? That's.
Yeah. Well, they were all doing it back then, weren't they?
They were. Yeah.
A lot of the actors were putting these out. So you've got Leonard Nimoy doing the Ballad of Bilbo Baggins. That's what it reminds me of, and particularly William Shatner, his spoken word sort of chanting.
Yeah.
That's the one. Do you think it was part of the same movement there, Terry? Is that?
Yeah, and I think
now movement.
Yeah, exactly. No, I think in the case of trying to find a way of shoehorning a celebrity into the music industry, you just say, well, let's just get them to read some lyrics like poetry, and we'll put that to music. So, but John Pertwee, giving it all the welly and read. As a kid, I remember first time I ever heard that must have been in some sort of outdoor fair or festival or summer fete or whatever it was, and it's playing in the background. I'm like, that's the Doctor doing poetry. That's really cool.
Yeah,
and on the radio.
Yeah, and it's like as these things have aged, that's not too bad. Even the music isn't too bad. So what the heck?
Because it's the theme.
Do you think what it is, Sarah, is that John probably knew that he wasn't a singer? I mean, I can only imagine what his cast mates thought about it. I think that might have gone down better with some.
That scene in Charlotte there.
So what do we think of that one? Have you heard that one before, Sarah? Have you ever heard it all the way through?
I have heard that one. Yeah, well, it's John Pertwee and he's still performing, and just something about him saying, "I am the Doctor." Yeah,
that sounded really good.
Love that, man.
Yeah.
It was obviously a version of the Doctor Who theme tune there behind in a sort of a prog rock light way. I think it was arranged by a guy called Rupert Hine, and it featured John Pertwee reciting lyrics over Hine's upbeat rearrangement, it says here, of the Doctor Who theme tune. And it was the first, and I think the last time that anybody who's played the Doctor had recorded specifically under their own name like that.
Well, John Pertwee had a big hit years later, didn't he? With the
he did. Yep.
It's funny you should say. That's my fantastic fact. John Pertwee released 2 albums under his own name. Firstly, back in 1962, there was John Pertwee sings songs for vulgar boatmen.
I want to hear that.
I really want to listen to that. Have you got
it's
that?
On YouTube. It's on YouTube in full, and it is unbelievable. I can't. It's such a product of its time. I can't even read out the track list now. I'd probably get banned by YouTube.
I was wondering if you'd ever get away with something like that now. Probably not.
Oh no, come on. You know you wouldn't get away with that now.
And then in 1980, there was, right on the success of his huge Southern TV show, Wurzel Gummidge, John Pertwee recorded a whole album called Wurzel Gummidge Sings in 1980. A delightful album. I've got that on vinyl, and I think a lot of people watching in the chat probably have too. It's a bit of a classic, as Wurzel Gummidge itself is. And John, that was, I think that even though he'd been massive on radio, obviously in the 50s and the 60s, the only time he ever came close to eclipsing the Doctor was when he played Wurzel Gummidge. But yeah, John, I think he got 4, sort of. You can almost class him as a recording artist, Shah, with those 2 albums. You're scribbling down the title of that album now. You're going to go and look that up and see what
I just did.
For Volga Boatman. Yes.
Songs for Volga Boatman with the mighty John Pertwee. So what do we think? Which is the worst offender so far, everybody? Ian, what do you think is the worst one?
Doctor in Distress, definitely. God, that is so
Charlotte?
awful.
Yeah,
Charlotte, what do you think is the worst one?
The knockoff Live Aid.
Yeah. That's still the clincher. That's still the clincher for you, Shah.
Absolutely.
I'm testing their patience, everybody. I'm testing their patience. Not I? Let's go for one more. Let's bring things back
what?
Up. I think, come on. No, you're gonna like this one, because this one, it was actually a hit. And if you don't believe me, well, Mike Reed and Gary Davis are going to tell you all about it. Check it out.
Ross, I owe you nothing.
Holy
We
crap.
have a brand new number 1 on top of the pops this week. Is it a bird? Is it a plane? No, it's a car. Hear the Time Lords.
Essential viewing.
Yes.
I remember watching this.
I always wondered whether they had the rights to do this.
I don't think so.
Does it look like they had the rights to do it?
I did like this one, though.
I
did like this.
Do you know who the Time Lords are? It's the KLF.
Yeah, it is.
Not blow my factoids, Terry Cooper. Okay, so this is hugely successful novelty single, you could say, Doctor in the TARDIS by the Time Lords, otherwise known, as Terry's quite rightly pointed out, as the KLF. Doctor in the TARDIS was released on May the 23rd, 1988 by Time Boy and Lord Rock, who were actually Bill Drummond and Jimmy Corty, who were better known as the KLF. They'd later go on to have a big selling album called The White Room and multiple hit singles stretching well into the 90s. But this was released on 7-inch, 12-inch, and cassette, and even a very early CD version. When I was at school, this record was, I won't say huge. It was number 1, I think, for a week, maybe 2. But it had a pop culture footprint. People did chant it. People did sing it. People played it. People bought it. Otherwise, it wouldn't have got to number 1. And yeah, the KLF were yet to become the actual KLF. But this was very much a taster.
Well, though, is it?
Do you reckon they were trying to?
It has. I don't think this has aged badly at all.
Blues
The only reason I say it hasn't aged well is because it's a mashup of the Doctor Who theme and Rock and Roll number 1 by Gary Glitter. So, you know.
But are they copying the Blues Brothers with that car?
Now you mention it could be. But yeah, as you've rightly said, Terry, it is a mishmash of the Doctor Who theme with Rock and Roll Part 2 from the Glitter Band and Blockbuster by The Sweet. And there's a bit of another song in there called Let's Get Together Tonight by Steve Walsh. So it's actually a mixture of lots of them. Wow. But it's the bass line, I think, comes from Blockbuster, doesn't it? So that I tend to associate it more than that. Obviously, like all of these tunes, it was panned by music critics at the NME and all those kind of places, but did get to number 1, and that was in the UK and into the top 10 in Australia and Norway. So this is easily the most successful of all the tracks that we've spoken about on this show.
That's my favourite.
Someone's phone is making noise.
Yeah, it's my favourite. It's easily my favourite of them. I'm very
not
nostalgic.
in the whole world, obviously. Like, my favourite song now.
Obviously, this came out when I was very impressionable. I bought it. I got teased a little bit about it, but the thing is, most of my mates. I bought it, yeah.
Why?
And I also bought everything the KLF ever did well into the 90s.
Yeah.
3 a.m. Eternal,
Yeah.
Justify
3
Nature.
a.m.
This is just a
Eternal is a
few
tune.
of the
Love
great
it.
tracks. Yet I
Yeah.
associate that with when I was, well, yeah, I won't actually.
One
I won't say
down.
about that. But yeah, they were a big band in the early to mid 90s, and I understand that they all still work in the music industry now, but they became modern artists, I think they called themselves, didn't they, Terry? Because they burn £1 million or something like that.
They were very fond of the concept, kind of, sort of viral stuff before the internet. The 3 a.m. Eternal thing came from a story where they called a load of journalists and said, meet us at an undisclosed location at 3 a.m. in the morning and we're going to burn our master tapes. So they were stirring up all this kind of media weirdness and interest about it. So they were kind of ahead of their time as far as weird concepts and stuff go for advertising.
Didn't they come back a couple of years ago? Because they said they weren't going to come back until a certain date, and then they did come back on a certain date. I think it was a couple of years ago.
Exactly. That's their shtick,
right.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, they're an interesting band. I love those tunes though. I love that album. I think I actually brought that album.
The White Room, yeah.
Yeah, I think somebody sat on it, and I think that's the end of that.
It was. Tammy Wynette did a great duet with them, and you could say a lot of their tunes were light on lyrics. We've got the lyrics to Doctor in the TARDIS here is lots of Doctor Who.
It's got a long time to.
And how about this for a cultural reference, Terry? Bosh, 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 loads of money. That's
Harry
in there.
Enfield, yeah.
And it says words and music by Chin Chapman, Ron Grainer. He gets mentioned, as does Mr.
Ball.
G Glitter.
Wow.
And it's published by Chapel Music and on the KLF record label with that emblem there that would be on all their albums and singles going forward. So yeah, it's now a bit of a footnote in the history of the KLF and a footnote in Doctor Who history. But it does get plastered on special features sometimes on the Blu-ray ranges, and they use it on magazine shows sometimes too. Sarah, you must have heard this a few times on Doctor Who Confidential and shows like that.
Oh yeah, it's I think that's when I first heard it. So I've just got happy memories of that time. Yeah, it's kind of like an anthem. I mean, you can imagine people singing it when they've had a bit too much to drink, or
I think they recorded it when they had a bit too much to drink.
The lyrics are very hard to remember, though, aren't they? The lyrics, very, very hard.
Bit of a tester, that one. Bit of a tester. The Darren Zone says the B-side to Doctor in the TARDIS has a decent version of the Who theme. I don't think I've played the B-side since it came out. I have to go back and
nobody plays the B-side when they used to get 45s in those days, because that's what we used to call them, 45s, didn't you? Remember? I think the only B-side I played was one of David Soul's songs that came out. And
He's giving his age away now.
Yeah, well, hey, come on. Golden days.
Has he not already done that? Like multiple
Hang on. You mean you never played the B-side to Bohemian Rhapsody? That wonderful singing by Roger Taylor?
No. I used to concentrate on the A side. I think
Crofts here again
was the B side,
confessing
of
that he bought it too, and also advises Ian that the B side has the great version of the theme tune. So we're going to have to get hold of this and see what it's like.
Might be down there, actually.
Gary Aker says, "What about that big Doctor Who hit? Who can it be now?" I have no idea what that's about.
I don't know.
Tony L says, "I think the KLF wrote a book about how to make £1 million in the music industry."
That
was a website, and it said it was like a disclaimer saying, "We guarantee you'll make £1 million if you follow all our instructions to the letter." And it says, "Think of a concept, think of a car, think of a vehicle, and you have to follow all." And it's like a little disclaimer: if you don't make £1 million, it's not our fault.
The pop video to this, I think you'd call it a pop video. This was filmed in and around the RAF base in Yatesbury in Wiltshire, so they allowed them to run amok there with not just Ford Time Lord, that was the Blues Brothers-esque police car there to serve and protect that you spotted there, Ian, but their makeshift Daleks too on their little casters. I don't know if there are people inside those Daleks. If you were inside one of those Daleks and you're watching the show, because I do get people reach out to us here at Type 40 Live and tell us that they were involved in things like this. So if that was you, out there. It was, I'm trying to think who it could have been. It was Darren Bradley. I bet it was Darren Bradley inside one of those things. So, yeah, if that was you, let us know here on Type 40 Live. Get you on the show and you can tell us about whether you sustained any injuries or there was an insurance claim somewhere at play there. We'd love to know. So, yeah, there we are with that is the last one. You can heave a sigh of relief. Those are the songs of who? Several Doctor Who cast members, of course, were recording artists in their own right, both before and after their time in Doctor Who. We may talk about them one day. And even the Ogrons from Doctor Who, they had quite a successful music career as well. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that another day. So let's go around and see whose favourites are what. Sarah, which is your favourite of those? Is it a 2-horse race, do you think?
Yeah, it's got to be Doctor in the TARDIS. It just, I like the style of it, and that video looks so much fun. It looks.
The TARDIS.
Yeah. It made the TV show look expensive. I think that was the main gift.
Yeah.
Shah, when you watch 80s Doctor Who, I know that you're just discovering it all as well. You know, when you watch 80s Doctor, you think, my God, that looks cheap. And then you see the video to Doctor in the TARDIS, you think, okay, that looks cheaper.
Yeah, but I you can forgive it, so it's fine. I've not got that much more to say, to be quite honest.
Does it surprise you that it got to number one? Because obviously now we live in an age where things are traditionally, things stay at number one. They don't have to sell that many singles to get a number one now. But back then, getting a number one was quite a big deal.
Yeah, no, I can appreciate that. I'm gonna have to ask my mum about that actually. And I don't mean that to age anyone, but just because I know she loved Top of Pop so much.
You don't have to ask your mum. You could ask me or Terry or Dan.
I have to say that I
still at school.
I do Mr. Blobby having a Christmas number one, so I can well.
Mr. Blobby, who's that?
That is a very good
Mr.
point, actually.
Blobby.
Yeah, exactly.
Love a bit of Mr. Blobby. Love a bit of Mr. Blobby. Oh, Charlotte, and to wave you off with the last thing that we talk about being Mr. Blobby. I'm so sorry.
I know. I'm sorry,
Charlotte. Are you still talking to me? Are we going to see you back next week? Oh. Isn't she
Good
awesome?
night, Charlotte. Have a good night.
Thanks for joining us on this show. Speak to you again next time. Have no nightmares. Wonderful. Needs a stiff drink before she gets visited in the small hours by Fraser Hines and the Go-Go's.
What's he doing in her bedroom? What's going on there?
Let's see what people think in the live chat. Get behind the sofa. Yeah, people, your ears bleeding. Everybody, let's see. It looks like they are avoiding copyright. You're talking about us here at Type 40 Live?
No, it's about the video for KLF, the very low budget.
Tony Farrell asks, is it safe for me to come back into the room yet?
Every time I see Tony's things
Really
pop
livid.
up, I imagine Roger Delgado saying,
Yeah.
Is
Still
it
alive.
safe to come back in the room yet?
He's still alive.
Will Hadcroft asks, did it come out the same year as Sylvester's debut, 1987? That was the following year. It was for the 25th anniversary, Will. What a gift. What a gift. We've got John Pertwee wins for me, says Jack Thursby.
Fair enough,
Big swing. Yeah.
I'm the Doctor.
James A. Fitzpatrick says, Dan is on fire today. Thank you. I am enjoying myself, I have to say. People quoting the lyrics here, or are they getting lyrical themselves? Crimpling de Bloom says Doctor Who is going to fix it. Doctor Who will do it right. As he travels through the galaxy at twice the speed of light. Is that your own work?
It's a hit.
Crimpling de Bloom. Yeah, I
Let's
like
record
that
it.
too.
Definitely.
Another request for the orbital version. I think we may play the orbital version on another show because there are certain instrumentals. Doesn't an instrumental count as a song? That's what I was wondering. If it's got no lyrics, is it a song? I don't think it is. Terry, you're from the music industry. What do you think?
Well, there are lots of instrumentals, obviously, that become singles. I remember my brother was obviously the bigger Doctor Who fan than me. He bought the Peter Howell version when that came out, and he bought the K9 and Company themes as a single as well. So, there
are lots of singles that came out from TV shows.
I didn't buy K9 and Company in, but I would have done if I'd been able to find it. I've got to be honest.
Well,
absolutely love that too.
There were a lot of TV shows that had themes that went to number one. Wasn't there in the 70s, in the 80s?
The Bill,
There was what is it?
More than you think.
Eye Level. There was that track Eye Level from I can't remember what that.
Van der Valk.
Yeah, that went to number 1, didn't it?
My mum told me about that. I'm old enough to remember that. If you have enjoyed this, even if you've just enjoyed watching us, particularly him, squirm, please like the video. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. Of course, why wouldn't you?
You might as well say if you haven't enjoyed it, because there's probably more people who haven't enjoyed this show.
Yes, if you cannot believe the audacity of this, please subscribe to the channel and hit the cloister bell so you get the notifications about what we're going to do next. And I may issue warnings beforehand if we dig any more gold like that up. And let us know what's your favourite. What would be your ringtone out of the tracks that we've played? Just little snippets of which would be your ringtone if you were forced to pick one. What would it be, Shah? What would yours be?
Do you know what? I think it would actually probably be the John Pertwee one. I really and John, yeah, it would. Yeah, it actually would. I was thinking it would. Yeah, it would. He says it so eloquently, like he always does. Yeah,
it'd be cool, you know. So I just let my phone ring just so I could hear John Pertwee speak.
He's just got a voice like velvet, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Good stuff. Yes, thank you to everybody who's contributed, who's stuck with us, who's still talking to us. We're going to head
through that music.
Let's go. Let's be kind to ourselves, to our other senses now, and head back into the other room for a look at the Doctor Who gallery and some pretty pictures. How about that? Would you think? Yes, this is that bit of the show where people ask me where they can get mugs from. We're working on it. We're trying to get hold of these mugs and maybe create a line of them that are going to be not going to be cost prohibitive for our loyal audience on Facebook, on YouTube, and across all the.
Don't believe it. The only reason I came on this podcast was to get a mug, and I've still not got one. So don't believe it.
You've got 3 mugs here. What are you talking about?
Ugly mug.
He's got a point. He's got a point. Yeah, we do it all for the love of music. Maybe not, but certainly for the love of Doctor Who. And we know you love it as much as we do. We've got lots planned for the rest of 2022 and next year into the anniversary year. So stick around for more of the good, the bad, and the ugly. All for the love of Doctor Who on Type 40 Live.
Subliminal messaging for like biscuits.
Yeah, there is.
I wonder why our punters talk about food a lot, don't I?
Well, I'm always eating, so it doesn't bother me.
You could well be on something. Let's look at some pretty pictures, shall we? We started with Sylvester McCoy, didn't we? With him and David Bradley at the London Comic Con. Now we've got this digital piece. This is from Variant Graphic, and it is the classic giant robot there from Tom Baker's very first story, beautifully set against a landscape. There we see. You're probably wondering,
could he not have put Sylvester McCoy anywhere else?
Yeah, I know. It's not good, is it? Not good at all.
Now, can you see
hanging off the claw or something? But oh no!
Yes, he's
dangling Doctor. A wee dangler.
Yeah, he's hung in whatever way that you want to see. Yeah. So this is from Variant Graphic. You okay, Sean?
It's not good, is it? It's not good.
Okay, this one's from Variant Graphic, a great digital artist. You'll find the link to follow them on Twitter. And you do see, the 7th Doctor there, hanging from the giant robot's fly. I was going to use another word then.
Charlotte, you didn't realise that this show's just filth, did you?
It's filth, this show.
It's
filth.
not me. Blame Variant Graphic. They're the one with the dirty mind. So I've got...
Lucky Mary Whitehouse isn't with us.
So Sophie Aldred there on his helmet. I mean, no, on his head. Oh God!
It's not even on his head.
Yeah, okay. Ace is about to give him a good beating. No, oh God. You get the picture. It's a fantastic piece of digital art from Variant Graphic. Go find them on Instagram and Twitter. I just love that. I love the giant robot anyway. One of those classic Doctor Who designs that always puts a smile on my face. And I don't know. I think maybe Sylvester will put a smile on most people's faces
He does look like
dangling.
Sylvester's
Spider-Man
putting a
in
smile
way.
on that robot's face. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. But it's just one example of how creative the Doctor Who community can be and how art can come in many forms. Okay, I've just seen some of the
Art
messages.
can come in many forms. Oh my God!
Oh,
Dan, stop!
God. I've just seen some of the messages in the live chat. Oh dear, oh dear. Yeah, well, let's recapture our innocence and look at some Lego. Oh, Ian's gone. He's out. He's gone.
He's on
This is an amazing Lego recreation of another seminal Doctor Who moment there, Terry. So which story is this from?
Oh, Pyramids of Mars. This will be Sutekh, and by the look of it, they've 3D printed the head and shoulders of a Sutekh, and probably some bendy knees as well, and sat him into actually a Lego background, which is really cool.
Fantastic.
Oh, he's not made of Lego, is he?
He's Lego, except for his head and shoulders by the look of it.
Okay. Okay.
I knew you'd be able to find. So yes, this is that moment when the fourth Doctor, he's stumbled upon Sutekh, hasn't he? Who's imprisoned. He can't move. He can't budge, but he can reach out to him mentally, and he attacks the Doctor, doesn't he? He attacks the Doctor, and we've got that recreated in Lego here too. Sheer horror on the Doctor's face.
You should have put that image up every time we had to listen to one of them songs.
Yeah, we'll save this one. We'll put this one to one side. And this is all the work of Brick Pandorica, who's got a fantastic Twitter and Instagram account as well. Lots of Lego recreations and customs there. But I just think, well, who doesn't love the Pyramids of Mars?
It's a great episode.
Yeah.
Oh, can I plug my movie at this point?
No.
Yes, go on.
No,
I'm just saying. Yeah, come on, Rebecca.
Go on, mate, go on.
No, what I'm planning to do is in my movie, there's going to be a number of Egyptian sarcophagi, and the head honcho is going to have the face of Sutekh on his.
Whoa, nice.
Oh.
You see?
We have other Lego enthusiasts here in the live chat saying Z3PO says the legs are
He's right.
actual
He's right.
bricks.
Yes, I was wrong there.
Wow.
Lots of wows. Wow, that's cool. Says Cybermat Strikes. And we've got Lego. Obviously, everybody loves a bit of Lego, whether it's your childhood memories or raising your own kids, or maybe you just like Lego. You like buying it and challenging yourself with some of these huge kits. Now, Carol Jude says, "I'm still sad that I grew out of Lego." Yeah, but I just thought that was wonderful. I can't recommend enough some of these accounts. You know, Brick Pandorica is incredibly inventive, and I can't tell because I don't know. They can do so many things with Lego now. Star Wars, Charlie, you're a big Star Wars fan, aren't you? And some of the Star Wars Lego is incredible, isn't it?
Oh, amazing! The things that people can do with it, and I mean, obviously the way it's been sort of brought out, but yeah, the things people come up with as well, especially building like Death Stars and all the ships. Oh yeah, you can do loads. I won't go into it too much, but yeah, there's so much you can do.
It's very versatile, and I'd say people will pay any money for it, but I think it's just got that kind of audience. And I suppose Star Wars having that audience as well, where people will pay for those big luxury items. Terry, you know all about that, don't you? Some of the Star Wars collectibles, lightsabers and whatever else. But with Doctor Who, I think with a lot of Doctor Who fans being very, very creative and being very, very arty, you know, that's where some of this gold comes from. It's that connection from childhood as well, and to how can I put this? To bring something that you've seen onto screen to life again in front of you, represented, however you represent it, Ian, however you translate it, whether it's in pen and ink or in little plastic bricks, I suppose it all counts, doesn't it?
Of course it does. Of course it does. As I said, I agree with Shah there. I mean, you should see some of the stuff they've built Star Wars-wise with Legos. It's crazy. They built the whole Millennium Falcon with Lego. It's absolute madness. Absolute madness.
And they're not just tiny either. Like, you know, they make it huge. It's great.
Yeah.
Let's just spend a ton of money on it, and God knows how much time.
Yeah. Especially building the Death Star takes you like 8 weeks to build the Death Star. It's crazy.
Oh,
Shout out to Matthew Pounder in the chat. He said, waiting for Legopolis, which is fantastic.
This is...
Well
I've
played.
got to get a soundboard, haven't I?
You have.
I really have.
Yeah.
I need the ba-boom boom tish, don't I? Yeah, thanks for that one, Matthew Pounder. He's here all week. Okay, let's look at something more traditional now. This is so earlier on in the Doctor Who diary, we looked at the war machines, and I saw this. This is from Hack. Hack is a comic book artist, a noted comic book artist and illustrator who works on several licensed comics, I think for Dark Horse and for IDW. but he's also a big Doctor Who fan. And here we've got this poster. Well, it's a poster of a faux 1960s paperback novel, because it got the 2 and 6 in old money there. Ian, I don't know. You're too young for old money, aren't you? You must be.
I know what that is, but hey.
Yeah,
That's how old I am.
But this is the Wotan looking a bit more fearsome than they probably did on screen with the spectre.
They still don't look fearsome, do they?
Let's bring them back. Bring them back for the new Doctor and call them the Woken.
They look like one-armed bandits, don't they?
Yeah, they do. The quality one-liners on this show tonight, everybody. Like the video, subscribe. Do I have to say it all over again? Yeah, I really like this. Robert Hack is an artist. I've been following his work for a very long time. You can get some of them as poster prints. I don't know about this one. I've not seen this one as a poster yet. But what do you think, Sarah?
I love it. I love the style of it, and
all the weathering and all that.
It does make it look a bit more impressive. And like you said, the weathering to make it look really old. It's it's wonderful.
That's
New old art, Carol is describing it as in the chat. Yeah, I love all that stuff. And when you look at the line of merchandise, I suppose you could say, that they were putting out a few years ago, Mike Collins illustrations. He was doing a lot of sort of retro comic book covers and book covers and all that kind of thing with bespoke artwork. And I'd love to see a return to that as we get close to the 60th anniversary. I've met Mike a couple of times. He's such a sweet guy.
He lives down the road from me. I'll have a word with him.
Go and knock Mike up. I mean, I've been following his work for years.
Knock him up.
Go knock him up. I talked to him. I was working at because I was working myself at a convention in Birmingham, and that was the last time I saw him. But I've seen him at Doctor Who events as well. And he worked on the brilliant Babylon 5 comics back in the day. He's worked on the X-Men book. He's worked on the Doctor Who comic strip for Doctor Who magazine, and he's been the storyboard artist on Doctor Who. He was there in the Moffat era, wasn't he? Yeah. So I'd love to get Mike on the show. Yeah, go knock him up and say, come and talk to Dan and the rest of the reprehensibles at Type 40 Live. Let's go back to the future now, Shah, for one last bit of digital art. I thought you'd like this. We've been fashion light this time, even though I know you're wearing a particularly fetching Doctor Who related item, which you've kept under wraps all. But take a look at this. This is more digital work, Sarah, from Gerard Groves on Twitter. And it's nice. There was this shot of Ncuti Gatwa that was around a couple of weeks ago of him in that banana-coloured suit. And Gerard has combined that with a tinkered version of a promo shot that I think is from the Three Doctors or Carnival of Monsters that we've all seen several times with Pertwee, and he's tweaked it there to give him that kind of Blues Brothers effect there, I think, Ian.
Do you know what? I would watch that. If I could see that, I would watch those two together. I think it would be amazing. Obviously, I know it can't happen, but those two would be great.
It can happen, though. They can do it now. They can do it now. They'll probably get John Pertwee's son in and do a deep fake on him because he sounds like him.
It's a shame that Sean Pertwee won't do it. I get why, but he would be amazing. He would smash it, and I'd watch that all day.
I was just thinking how they look a bit like Dean Martin and Sammy Davis Jr. when they used to do the old Rat Pack movies back in the day. Like a bit of that.
Davis Jr.
Yeah, I love all that stuff. They were brilliant together. Do you remember when they were in the Cannonball Run movies when they were dressed as priests
indeed.
after those two hookers? Yeah, fantastic stuff.
Played priests, didn't they?
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. So I love this. So well done. Sometimes the simplest idea is the best, Gerard, and this really did make me laugh when it turned up on Twitter last week.
He didn't put any shadow. That's what kind of doesn't make it work. He didn't put any shadow on John's jacket. Because he'd be generating shadow, wouldn't he?
Nitpick. Question. With all the centenary coming up, right? Dan, you could probably do an entire show on this, so note this down.
Oh, okay.
It makes me think about, we're talking about all the companions that are brought back for little,
yes, mate,
ending their roles and this kind of stuff. But because there's so much legacy of Doctor Who now, and so many of the people in the past are no longer with us, and what's the shape of the 70th anniversary going to take, and the 80th? How's that going to
It's going to be coffins coming out.
Companions, isn't it?
Went dark, a bit dark there. I think that entertainment and television is changing so rapidly, and with every decade, that seems to be speeding up. It's almost unimaginable. I think the idea of, I think 3D TV. That's the one that comes back every 10 or 15 years. And to be honest, I think that it's, even though the idea, every 10 years or so, people think, oh, I know, we'll make 3D TV. It's going to be a big thing, and then it all comes out, and people remember how crap it is. Yeah. But I think that holographic TV or holographic projection, the kind that we're seeing now with the ABBA Voyage thing, I think that could well be the way that entertainment goes, a way of bringing us, us and theatre sort of together in a 360 immersive way. I'm not entirely
technology-wise, but I don't think you're going to get like an 80th anniversary of Doctor Who with like the first 12 Doctors all done as CGI deepfakes or whatever.
I see. I think we could well go down that road with the things that we've seen on Star Wars lately. Shaw. I mean, I don't know how you felt about Mark Hamill, how they recreated him in the Book of Boba Fett, but it does seem to come on in leaps and bounds every 3 or 4 years, doesn't it?
Yeah, if you look at the Marvel film,
Book of Boba Fett, but that's okay.
Yeah,
another thing.
I couldn't stand it either.
No, but it could be done. We've come so far already. What's stopping it from going even further?
But in 50 years, when I'm gone, do you reckon it'll be a CGI version of me as well on this show? That CGI version of you guys.
Yes. If the songs earlier on didn't give you nightmares, then the idea of a CGI mega geek popping out of your device.
Hologram.
The hedgehog.
We can have you pop up and sort of read us the news, all that kind of thing. The mega news from the Mega Geek.
Yeah.
What if Ian? You need an app, don't you? We need Ian as an app as well. I think.
We need to scan Ian in before we lose him.
I don't think. Why wait? Why wait until after he's gone? Let's enjoy him while we still have him.
Going to go.
Going back to that, though, sorry, I have to make the link, but this is why I agreed so much with what Simon said a couple of weeks ago or a few weeks ago, to just while they're all here, well, most of them are all here, just get them all in while you can, and we'll worry about how it's done later. Because why not?
I would have to.
It doesn't have to necessarily be as the Doctor, but in some way.
I would have to agree. And what do you guys think about it? It's a great question from Terry. What do you think the shape of future anniversaries could be? What do you want from this anniversary, from the 60th coming up? Let us know through our social media, Instagram and Twitter at Type40 Doctor Who, or you can reach out to me as the Spacebook on Twitter and Instagram. I talk about Doctor Who, and now and again I talk about other things too. Or you can, of course, join our social media groups, the Type40 Facebook group and the Type40 Doctor Who Blu-ray and DVD collectors group, if you want to go deep dive on the physical media. But let us know in the comments section and all those places. Any of the things we've talked about on this edition of the show, let us know your thoughts. Have we stirred some creative ideas, or have we merely stirred and churned your stomach with some of the songs of Doctor Who earlier on? You can get your own back. You can get your own back by dropping us a comment, telling us off. Let us know what you think of it all through the comments section and all that jazz. It's been most of them are still here. We only lost one, and we always lose Charlotte around that time. So I consider this a win, Terry. Thank you for joining us, mate. It's great to see you again. Do you want to tell people about your movie? Because I know that Bloody Students is still very much happening. You're casting at the moment. How's that coming along?
Oh, it's going along really well. We just cast 2 main characters. Came pretty much out of the blue. We got a female character who's just auditioned, just knocked it out of the park. I know what Ian's like now when you do an audition for a new character, and you think, oh, is it going to be any good? And the agony of having to tell 8 or 9 other applicants who are equally as good, but just not what you're looking for, having to tell them sorry about it. But I'm getting really excited. I'm going to have to start looking into sort of trying funding and stuff now. But it's going to be a really fun. It's a comedy horror. Basically, it's students locked in a museum with reanimated mummies. What's not to like?
Oh, yeah.
Very Cornetto trilogy.
Definitely.
Now you've got to have one of them saying, "Are you my mummy?" You've got.
You betcha.
Sarah, I know you've had a brilliant day. It's been a great day for your family. I'm delighted to hear your news and I'm glad you could make it for the show too. And yeah, is there anything you'd like to tell people about things that you've been up to, things you've got coming up, or any suggestions you've got for people watching or listening out there?
Yeah, well, I've started doing a Stranger Things discussion on Loki's channel. Loki's Mornings of Mystery.
Stone Loki, this is, isn't it, on YouTube?
Yeah. And yeah, well, it was going to be like a review thing, but there's that much to talk about. We've barely scratched the surface. So
are you going back to the beginning of Stranger Things, or you're just talking about the latest season? Because I'm going to have to go back and rewatch all the early stuff. I've forgotten so much of it.
Well, we did start off with the current season, but because of the way you just can't help but reflect back, and there's things that link back. So yeah, but yeah, I'm really enjoying that, and oh, fine, yeah, I'll be doing more stuff with Type 40 because obviously the kids finish school next week. So no more school nights. So it means I can be around them. I can be a big girl and stay up late.
Excellent, because I've got some great recordings planned for you. I'm going to rope you into some things. I do test my friendships, everybody. I really do. I've got some great stuff. Some of it's already been recorded. We've got lots of episodes of Type 40, a Doctor Who podcast that are already banked up with some really great guests. Lots more people booked into, and Sarah's on some. So Simon, before he went away, there's some stuff with JT coming up too, and other brilliant guests. Shah, you had a hell of a weekend last weekend. Hey, you going to have a quiet one this time? What you got planned? And where can people hear and see more of you?
Yeah, I am having a quieter one this weekend. You'll be glad to know, but not before. But just after that, I'm in your neck of the woods, Dan. So I'll have to come and knock on the door and say hello. But yes, if you do want to find me for whatever reason, then I am Geek Rambles on YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram. So if you want some more of rambles, then go for it. And you'll find me there.
Make sure she doesn't show you her T-shirt. Then you would be able to.
Oh, I was really worried about what you were going to say. I was like, definitely don't do that.
Okay, let's. Ian.
Yes.
I'm going to thank you anyway, even after that gag. Yes, thanks again, Ian. Rebecca Gold, the Rebecca Gold channel, that's still there, isn't it, for people to sample your fantastic web series?
It is. If you write in Rebecca Gold into YouTube, you'll find it. We've got feature films on there, which I directed and produced and blah, blah, blah. And Rebecca Gold's still there. Award-winning web series, won loads of awards. I won an award. Actors won an award. Producer won an award. Everybody won an award. Everybody lives.
Casually is about it. He's like nothing. His award. Our Ricky Gervais, they're all just in his toilet.
But I am working on season 2 of Rebecca Gold. I'm recasting at the moment, and I really do feel for Terry when he's casting as well, because I'm going through the same old crap. So, but that should come out next year sometime. So we're hoping to shoot before the end of this year. So there you go. Knock yourselves out, guys. Knock yourselves out. Okay.
Oh, good luck.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody, for your company. It's been a fantastic show. And thank you to you for watching and for listening. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that cloister bell. You're going to love what we've got coming up next. Next week's show, I'll keep that to myself for the time being. But yeah, thanks, everybody. We always have the time if you have the space here at Type 40. We'll speak to you all again next time. Enjoy your weekends.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.